Yes, McLaurin, touchdown.
All the crazy I did tonight, those will be the best memories. I just wanna let it go for the night. That would be the best therapy for me. All the crazy I did tonight.
Oh, was it ever crazy last night? Welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Alberta's only regulated online gambling website. And whew, if you would have bet the Edmonton Oilers to give up 8 goals last night, you would have been pretty lucky. They didn't even have that prop bet. You want to know why? Because did you know, here's a fun little stat for you. And by the way, welcome to the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Thank you very much for listening. The text line, I know we're going to get to some of the texts later on in the show, 833-401-1440 in our Jiffy Lube inbox. Lots of thoughts, some coming in already, but some fun numbers for you. The Edmonton Oilers last night was their 3,400th regular season game in the NHL. Only the 56th time they have allowed 8 or more goals. It's pretty rare. 0.16% of the time. It becomes even less that they lose by 7. Because some of those games actually won 12-9, 12-8. Few they tied 8-8. Crazy. Different time. Then you might lose 9-5, 9-6, 9-4. But to get absolutely spanked 8-1, it's rare. It does not happen very often. Happened last night. The Oilers were roadkill. They got outworked. They didn't get enough saves. They got outworked. They didn't bury their scoring chances. They got outworked. They lost too many one-on-one battles. They got outworked. The penalty kill allowed 3 goals on 6 chances. They got outworked. You get the point. Here's some numbers from last night. So, and first of all, there is no one person that you can find blame. If you think if Matthias Ekholm was in the lineup that the result would have been different, God love you, but I think you're dreaming in Technicolor. Unless Matthias Ekholm can somehow inject work ethic into the veins of his teammates, it wasn't happening. In the first period alone last night, puck battle win percentage, 38 for the Oilers. 38%. You're not going to win every one, but my goodness, when you're losing 62% of the battles, guess what? Not good. And here's the most glaring stat from last night. And I think if anybody watches it, you'll be like, yep. The Vancouver Canucks had 11 scoring chances off of turnovers. The Edmonton Oilers had 1. The Oilers' puck management was terrible. They did not win battles until the third period when the game was over. And Vancouver's like, you know what? Our goalie's a little dehydrated. We'll take him out of the game. And it didn't matter at that point. Game was over. But the Oilers, the good news, hey, they can't play worse. Honestly, I will say this. The Oilers aren't losing by 7 goals again this season. Hot take alert. Hot take alert. It's not happening. But make no mistake, this was not one player. This was not, they should have kept Raphael Lavoie. No, the Edmonton Oilers, collectively, top to bottom, their consistent work ethic was not remotely on the level of the Vancouver Canucks, excluding for the first 5 minutes. The Oilers actually came out well. They were shooting them 5-2 in the first 5 minutes. And then after that, it was all downhill, baby. They're going downhill. The brakes failed. And it was just, please don't crash into the ditch. And they crashed into the ditch. Then they went into the spruce trees, through to the Russian olives. And it was downhill from there, man. It was an epic, brutal game for the Edmonton Oilers. And here's the thing. Those games will happen. As I mentioned, it's the 44th season for the Edmonton Oilers. It's the 56 times. So you can say on average once a year. You know, remember in March of 22, the Oilers got spanked by the Flames. It happens. You'll have a bad game. Right or wrong, when it happens on opening night, you notice it more. It creates more angst. It creates more frustration. And I totally understand it. I'm not going to sit here and say, it's just one game. Don't worry about it. Even though I get that it's one game. And you know what? You have that game in game 1 or in game 56. It doesn't change anything in the standings. But optically and psychologically, it's different. You wait all summer. Oiler fans are excited. Oh, yeah, here we go. Maybe you're with your buddies. You were down at the Pizza Pig Out last night. Then you came to our watch party. Hey, you were with your buddies wherever you're watching the game. Heck, maybe you flew to Vancouver and watched the game. Sitting at home, your kids, you got your routine back. All right, the game is on. I got my chips. I got my dip. I got a beer. I got my sugar-free pop, whatever it is you drink. And then you watch that debacle, and you're just like, oh, I waited 4.5 months for that? No, thanks. So I get why people are frustrated. I totally understand that. And you know what? I think that's okay. You can be frustrated, but also at the same time recognize that, yeah, it's only one game. I think that's fair. I'm not going to sit here and tell people, calm down. No. But I will say, don't blame one person, because there's no one single person that you can look at and say, hey, they had a really good game. Now, the best line without question was the Fogle, Holloway, McLeod line. They're pretty solid, but as solid as you can be in 8-1 loss, right? It's like when you're 5'7" and all your buddies are 5'6", and you're like, I'm the tallest. Technically you are. It's not necessarily something you're going to brag about in other circles. It's just how it is. You go to a bald convention, I got the most hair. Technically you do. Probably not something you're bragging about. So the Oilers last night, they weren't there. And here's the funny part. I actually didn't think Jack Campbell played that bad. Like, look at the first goal. Peterson makes the saucer pass over Kulak's stick, and Kulak knows right away that, you know what, I got to get my body behind that or a glove out. Right on the tape of Garland. Deke's in tight. There's no chance for the goalie. Second goal, I don't think there's much chance. Third goal, if you want to say, hey, the first rebound I didn't like, okay, I can live with that. No problem. Fourth goal, a lucky one off a skate. Again, not a major issue for the goalie. I'm curious what they would do, because Jay Woodcroft has two choices here. He can stick with, I think I'm going to go with Stuart Skinner, or he can say, guess what? I went with Campbell, Skinner. They each got a half a game. They each had the exact same save percentage. Let's just start from scratch. We're going to pretend, you know what? We're going to watch the film, but then we're going to race that game because we can't change it. And maybe they'll go back and go to Campbell and say, guys, everybody gets a restart. Possible, but we'll see. Because if Ekholm's in, it's 11-7, right? There's no way they had 12. There's no way they could have 12 forwards. We've got a lot of people texting us at 833-401-1440. They need 12 forwards. Well, sure, but they can't get 12 forwards until Markus Niemelainen is cleared. Unless you want to send Philip Broberg down because he doesn't require waivers. Those are your only two options. It's the only way to get 12 forwards is you send Broberg down when Ekholm's healthy to get a 12 forward. I don't see that happening. Or you wait till Niemelainen's healthy, and then you're able to bring up a 12 forward or sign Adam Ernie, which is probably more likely. So, now the Oilers, hey, Gregor, the Oilers said all summer they wanted a good start. What happened? Well, I don't know what happened. Well, I can tell you what happened. They just didn't match it. But remember, a good start isn't one game. Because if you win the opening game of the season and lose 5 in a row, does that mean you had a good start? No, I think what the Oilers are talking about of a good start was after 20 games, they're not a 10-10 team. Probably not an 11-9 team. Ideally, I think they'd like to be 13-7 or better. That's what they'd want to be. So we'll see. Hey guys, they came in early this year to be ready. Yeah, I know, Muzz, they did, and it didn't happen. It did not happen. It was ugly. Hey guys, is Bouchard disposable? Best trade chip they have to bring to D-Man that can help him win a cup. Way too soft. Well, hey, anybody's tradable. Do I think that they're going to be actively shopping Evan Bouchard? I don't. Right? It was a bad game. Bouchard, I'm sorry. That play on the second goal, you can't lose a puck battle that easily. And it's Giuseppe, right? He's a pizza delivery guy, for goodness sakes. Okay, you go in there, watch that replay. Giuseppe didn't even really do much to win the battle. It can't be that easy. All right, so and that's one example for Bouchard on that play. I can find lots of other ones in the game where the Oilers simply did not make it hard enough on their opposition. And you know what? Well, when I say they're going to be better on Saturday, well, of course I can say that because it's almost impossible to be worse. Right? Almost impossible to be worse. So I'm curious how they respond. I'm curious, Jack Campbell, it's early on. It's a test. Jack Campbell had talked about the mental focus for him, not getting down. So, that game, Campbell, I don't think was terrible. I know he's hard on himself, but can he look and say, hey, you know what? Yeah, not a great result, but I got to let it go. Because the players are Connor McDavid, Draisaitl, Nurse, go down the list. When Saturday comes, they're not going to be on the face-off thinking, geez, got to make up for Wednesday, right? It's in the past. Harder maybe for goalies to do it, but he has to. He has to. Sorry. Hey, guys, the Oilers are the most skilled team in our division. Hard work will beat skill most of the time. They need to be better. From Imitation Tom. Hard work, will it beat skill? Yeah, but Oilers actually, I think, normally are a pretty hardworking team. Last night, not at all compared to Vancouver. That's fair. But, I don't think Edmonton has a reputation. Like last year, the one thing, actually, it's funny, their most skilled guys are on their power play. The Oilers' power play, actually, one of the big reasons why they're so successful is watch how many second and third opportunities they generate from winning puck battles. So I agree. Last night, not good. But overall, I think Edmonton's work ethic is actually pretty good. So a guy's embarrassing game for fans to watch. This team is supposed to be ready. They look cocky. Figure the regular season to be a cakewalk. They were snapped into reality. I expect them to dominate on Saturday from KM. Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? Vancouver's going to come in here really confident. Could Edmonton dominate them? Sure. Vancouver just dominated the Oilers. But I will say, I'm not sold that Edmonton thought the regular season would be a cakewalk. I just think they came in and were flat. Ridiculously flat. And we'll see how it goes. Hey, guys, I don't think that can happen after you tell you the media the team knows how important it is to get off to a good start. You put that on the ice. And that's valid. I understand it. But again, the start is going to be more than just one game. Because had the Oilers dominated last night and then lay the egg for the next 4, now you're 1-4, and that's not a good start. So the Oilers, obviously you don't want to go down 0-2. Of course you can in an 82-game season, but you don't want to, especially against a division rival. It's early on in the season, but adversity is a good thing. It's not major adversity. Let's be honest. It's not major. It's one loss. And had they lost 4-3 in the standings, it's no different than an ass kicking of 8-1 that they had last night. And we can get into the conversation. Is it better to get spanked like that or to play meh and lose 4-3? Because maybe you can convince yourself in that meh game that, hey, yeah, we did some things okay. This will be the easiest film schedule of the season for Dre Woodcroft. There's not one player that's going to be going into that film room. He's had a pretty good game last night. I'm pretty excited about it. Yeah. No chance, man. No chance. Hey, boys, you had the pizza event. I watched the Oil Kings lose 7-0. Tough night. John at St. Albert. Well, John, you should have come to the Pizza Pig out at Molson House. It was awesome. Huge shout out to all the pizzerias. Con man, did you have a favorite za last night that you tried?
Yeah, Campio's Donair pizza. So good. It was so good. A UFO had some great pizza as well. Had to dip in on my guys at Papa John's a little bit. Yeah, it was great turnout. A lot of great people there. The mood was fantastic, and I loved the generosity, Gregor, of the people down there. Obviously, the 50-50, you know that's going to sell in Edmonton. But the gentleman who won the McDavid jersey and then promptly made you an auctioneer and gave it right back and said, let's raise some more money. That was very cool. But yeah, the pizza was fantastic. Definitely a must-attend event for those who love the pizza. And it was very good times. Very good times.
For those who attended, let me know what your favorite was. I know they're calculating all the votes.
Did you have a favorite?
Pizza Garage I hadn't tried before, and it was awesome.
What kind?
I had I had a barbecue chicken, and then I had the what was it called? It had a weird name, and I wrote it down on my sheet, but I don't have my sheet here with me. But there was a pizza that I didn't try because everybody told me it was spicy, and I'm kind of a softie for spicy food, and people were raving about it. And like I said, like it's got a real kick. So I'm curious about those who tried the spicy pizza. I don't remember the name because there were so many pizzas there. I couldn't remember them all. But if I should have brought in my card when I filled out to who I think is going to win. But it was fun. Thanks everybody for coming and raising a lot of money for Kid Sport, having a lot of fun. We already have our next year's venue, not officially booked, but ready to go with a few new twists. So that'll be fun next year. Hey, before we get to a quick break, hey, Gregor, I got a trivia question for you. Who scored the Leafs' first goal of the 23-24 season? Oh, I know the answer to this one. I saw it. Yes, it was a pretty good moment for the kid. I tell you, I talked to him briefly today, and you know what? You score your team's first goal in your first game for that new team when you're trailing and the building goes nuts. It's just, it's a different atmosphere there than it is in San Jose. Like it would be playing in Edmonton, you're playing in Calgary, you're playing in Vancouver, you're playing in Winnipeg, some of those Canadian markets, man, Chicago, right? Boston. There's a few others, but yeah, it's a pretty big moment. Quite the entertaining game, Montreal and Toronto. Austin Matthews with a hat trick. How about Brock Besser? Here's a fun trivia for you, Oiler fans. Do you remember the last time an opponent scored 4 goals against the Oilers? Think about it for a second. You probably got to go back in time a little bit. You've got to go back 21 years, Connor Halley. The last time a player scored 4 goals against the Edmonton Oilers. No player in NHL history has ever scored 5 against the Oilers. Brock Besser had 4 last night. The last time is actually the only time it's ever happened in Edmonton. The other 11 were all on the road. Were you in the building on December 14th, 2002, when Marcus Naslund scored 4 goals as a member of the Vancouver Canucks? So yes, the last 2 players to score 4 goals against the Oilers, both members of the Canucks. Struddy was in the building that night as a member of the Vancouver Canucks. Actually, I take that back. He was traded. Maybe that's why Naslund scored 4. Who knows? Who knows? So, yeah. Wendell Clark, Mike Modano, Teemu Selanne, Brett Hall, Steve Yzerman, Miroslav Freicher, Ron Francis, Butch Goring, Bernie Nichols, and Mike Bossy. Pretty good list of players. I guess if you're going to give up 4, pretty good list. Lots in the 1 in 81, 2 in 83, 84, 86, 1 in 89, 2 in 95, 2 in 96, and then Marcus Naslund 202, and now Brock Besser in 2023. Oiler fans hope it's another 20 years before it happens again. Take a quick break. Coming up on the program today, Terry Ryan is back with us. He will join us on the show. Also, we will have Bronte. Rob Collins will be by, talk a little NFL. Lance Lazowski will join us. How about the Twin Towers on the back end in Buffalo? Rasmus Dahlin has signed an extension, and now Owen Power is locked up 8 years at $8.3 million. So if you're a Sabres fan, you know who your back end is. You know the 2 main guys for the next 8 years. Well, actually, it's 9. So good news for them. Livingston will be by a little bit later on. We'll get to Spec, get to our PlayAlberta.ca picks. Also, are you coming to West Edmonton Mall where the Sports 1440 studio is? Of course, it's Oilers autograph signing day today. I got something for you if you're coming down to West Edmonton Mall. You might want to make a pit stop at the Sports 1440 studio. I'll tell you about that coming up in the 3 o'clock hour. Take a quick break. We'll return to the Jason Gregor Show live on Sports 1440. Also, you can watch us live on Oilers Nation YouTube, where post game was fired up with Yaremchuk last night. It's a hot time. People are, you know what? That's a tough loss, man. You wait 4.5 months, you lay an egg like that. I'm sorry. I think fans are totally within their rights to be upset about it. Now you'll move on and you'll cheer loud on Saturday, but that was a brutal game.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
5-time Alberta Junior Hockey League champions, the Spruce Grove Saints are celebrating their 20th season in Spruce Grove. Be part of the action and enjoy some of the best Junior A hockey Canada has to offer. By experiencing a Saints game for your next outing. Tickets range from $9 to $15 with free parking and some of the best food and drink specials in town. For more information on tickets and how you can become a partner, go to sprucegrovesaints.ca.
How do we do it? Well, at Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we invest. Our money and time goes right back into technology and training, and it's all designed to get you back into shape. We invest in people, the people who really care, and they understand how your body works. Then they combine their experience, training, and skills to work with you to help you solve your issues, be it pain in the back, neck, arm, shoulder, heel, literally head to toe. Leading Edge Physiotherapy, always taking new patients because we keep fixing the old ones. Life shouldn't hurt. Find us at leadingedgephysio.com.
You know, I got into reffing for the excitement.
He's going for the chair!
Turns out wrestling is completely scripted. But you know what's exciting and unscripted? PlayAlberta.ca. With an all-new sportsbook, odds boosts, and betting on any game.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today.
on the same day, or do you want to fly in Saturday morning and catch both games that weekend with an overnight stay? Either way, it won't be long before Network Travel has a full count for both options. So book today at networktravel.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, the clear choice for all your auto, residential, and commercial glass. Call 310-GLASS or book now at crystalglass.ca.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Stuck inside these four walls, sent inside forever. Never seeing no one.
Con's trying to bring the tone down, calm everybody down. Although, you know what I will say? Our texters are great. They're like, hey, man, brutal game. I get it, but I'll be watching, as you should, right? Two things can happen. You can be upset about the game, but not concerned about the season. I think there's two different things here. People who are like, oh, I'm worried after one game, that's ridiculous. Like, think about it. The Oilers were 500 after 20 games last year. Edmonton's a good team. They sucked last night. There's no sugarcoating it. No pretending. There's no excuses. No, oh, this guy's good. No, the team was terrible last night. They did not match the work ethic of Vancouver, and they were full marks for their loss. Full marks. They deserved to have the ass kicking because they didn't play very well at all. So, you know what? They'll have to be better. Good news is virtually impossible to be worse. Virtually impossible. So, I do want to get to this one. Hey, Gregs, what do you think about McDavid's uninformed pouting after the game? He didn't know Demko was sick, but for him to talk about a team putting out their top power play, which they didn't, is a little pot and kettle, if you ask me, from Tim. Well, Tim, here, how would he supposed to know if the other goalie was sick? How would he know that? Right? Number one. But number two, didn't Vancouver score the 7th goal with their number one unit on the power play? That's what he's talking about. It was 6-1 they put on their first unit. And by the way, I don't care. And if McDavid wants to get upset about it, great. If there's animosity in the regular season, fire it up. Awesome. And if the Oilers are up big and they want to put out McDavid when it's 6-1, I would do it too. Great. You're supposed to play 60 minutes. We've had that thrown down our earlobes for a year. That's terrible saying. What the hell was I talking about? Earlobes. Awful. But, geez, that was almost as bad as the Oilers last night. It's being stuffed down our throat. 60 minutes. We got to play a 60-minute game. Well, if you want to play a 60-minute game, then the other team should be able to play their guys whenever they want. Right? Now I know people will say, well, it's an unwritten rule. I have no problem with Vancouver doing it. But don't say they didn't do it when Miller scored with Hughes and Pettersson on the power play to make it 7-1. What are you talking about? They used it wasn't their first unit. It was their first unit. And if McDavid wants to be pissed about it, great. But I don't think I have no problem with Vancouver doing it. I have no problem with any team doing it. This is professional sports. This isn't minor hockey. So I don't have an issue with it at all.
How about you don't take dumb penalties and don't let them score 6 goals then? Or stop them.
Sure, yeah.
It's pro sports. Get over it.
Yeah. But to claim that they didn't have their first unit on for the 7th goal, it's right on the game sheet, my man. They did. Now, let's get to the oil report brought to you by Volvo of Edmonton. How about this? You can save up to $5,000 on any of the remaining 2023 Volvo models right now. It's a steal of a deal. And if you like Ekholm as much as many of you do you know that Ekholm drives a Volvo? You can too. VolvoEdmonton.com as we welcome in Ruben Bronte. Rubes, that was I would say, a soiling of the sheets by the Edmonton Oilers across the board last night.
A group soiling, as it were, yes.
Yes.
I take it some people are rattled if we're going after Connor McDavid for what he said already. That's a record, one game into the season. You know what? You've talked about it already. This was from top to bottom. It's the difference between the team sucks, which is an ongoing thing, and the team sucked. Well, the team sucked last night. There's no way around it. And that goes from the top of the lineup to the bottom of the lineup. That should be obvious. It's not a matter of it's only one game, because when it's the opening game after captain skates and training camp and expectations by a lot of people who aren't just wishful thinkers that this is a Stanley Cup contending team, an upper echelon team, to come out and see that kind of hockey game. I get it, how people are rattled, and I hate saying settle down because you always sound like somebody's dad when you say that, but settle down. It's okay. It was one terrible game. I'd be more concerned if we don't see a complete turnaround in that second game, because if they didn't have a reason to be revved up and ready to go, and they didn't, because I don't know why they weren't, but Saturday is it. And I heard you earlier as well, I would go with Jack Campbell again. The one thing I worry about in terms of a hangover from a display that bad, Jason, Jack Campbell has a history of getting on himself and worrying and sweating everything and being his own worst enemy in a lot of ways. I say, Jack, you weren't as good as you need to be, but neither was anybody else. Get back in there. Everybody has a do-over. I think that's the best thing you could do for this goaltender, knowing how he is and what his history is.
Yeah, you know what? I actually didn't think Campbell was even that bad on those 4 goals last night. I don't think he had a chance on the first one. Definitely the fourth one's unlucky. The third one, maybe I would say, hey, the first rebound with his blocker, he probably pushed it a little too farther than you would like. But other than that, like I didn't think Campbell was awful. Like compared to last year where you had pucks go right through him, that didn't happen. So it's still 4 goals on 16 shots. So it's not great for sure. But that's one where I thought that was a mercy pull more than the goalie's bad. And I did kind of chuckle when I saw identical 750 save percentages for both goalies. So, you know what? We'll see what Jay Woodcroft does. To me, it doesn't matter who starts in goal, because if the guys in front of him don't have a better work ethic, it ain't going to matter.
Well, what struck me, Jason, they seem to be out of sync all at the same time. So maybe in that sense, they were in sync at being out of sync. I didn't see any flow. I didn't see them looking like they were connected. I lost track of how many times they handed the puck to the Canucks and lost pucks to Vancouver. Vancouver looked like the soundest defensive team on the planet last night. They weren't coughing stuff up. The Oilers didn't mount any kind of pressure on the forecheck. They didn't steal pucks. They didn't get in lanes. It was Vancouver. It was like shooting fish in a barrel, to use the old saying. I don't know what the loose pucks were, but they had to be ridiculously one-sided for the Canucks.
Well, in the first period, Vancouver won 62% of battles on loose pucks. And in the game, Vancouver had 11 scoring chances off of turnovers. The Oilers had 1. The Oilers turned the puck over a lot. And Jay Woodcroft talked about their work ethic was just simply not there. Collectively as a team, right? It's not just, there wasn't where you could say, okay, this one guy or these 2 guys. It was collectively weak across the board. And so they'll move forward. I'll say last night, was there anybody whose game you liked?
I thought the Fogle line had some moments. I was busy staring at who I didn't like. I sure couldn't I couldn't find a good shift for Nurse and Bouchard. It was like water and oil. They just at least for last night, they didn't they didn't play very well together. They were out of sync. I thought down the lineup, I didn't mind Hall away. He was a little bit all over the place, but he brought some energy. Before he got hit with the shot and went out, I thought he brought some jump, which is a start given that hardly anybody had any of that last night. The big guys, they're going to have games like that. Again, it's not a matter of telling people to settle down, but really, I think Connor McDavid can have a nothing game, and so can Leon Draisaitl. Do you want that? No, you don't, but it's going to happen, except that I can pretty much guarantee they'll be better on Saturday because that's what makes them the players they are. I didn't see a bunch of guys I liked, though, Jay. I honestly didn't. If your third line's the best you've got, that's probably not good enough.
No, there was, Dylan Holloway. I guess the good news is that block shot. Jay Woodcroft said he expects him to play on Saturday, which is obviously good. Because here's the thing. Well, they could have an emergency recall because they played with 19, so they could recall somebody if Holloway's injured. But he is going to play. Sounding like we might see Ekholm, so they would go with 11-7. I'm not one who buys into, wow, Matthias Ekholm is going to solve all the problems, because last night was a work ethic problem. It wasn't just a defensive systemic issue. It was work ethic more than anything else. Like, you actually had guys in position where they were in the position, but not in the right position. You know what I mean? They're there, but they're 6 inches out of position. I don't think Ekholm's going to magically be able to inject the work ethic into his group to get them all up and running. So I'm curious to see, the fire for McDavid. I actually don't mind it. Even if it's obviously he didn't know that Demko was sick, and you know what, if he's upset about the other team's power play, that's fine. He has a right to be upset, just like Vancouver has the right to put their other team's power play out there. Here's the thing: the only beef I would have, well, outside of the whole effort of that game, was Edmonton. It's the third period. You're playing this team again on Saturday. There is zero attempt to send any sort of physical message. That kind of bothered me.
Yeah, and I thought we might see a physical game out there the way it started with the scrap early on. I didn't mind that at all. Nothing wrong with some emotion. Yeah, you know what? I think they looked a little bit, and it's not an excuse, but you watch enough hockey, you'll see it. They looked a little bit stunned, like it was like, what the heck?
Yeah, well, you know what? I don't. They just didn't have it. They had no answer for it. It was kind of weird.
It was. Yeah, they didn't have. There was no F-bombs flying. There was no emotion on the bench. You just didn't see anything.
Ron Brownlee joins us on Edmonton's Sports Authority, Sports 1440. Rubes, around the NHL, hey, we saw lots of, it was point night for Besser and Peterson. Austin Matthews gets a hat trick. Mikko Rantanen gets 4 points. Taylor Hall, do you think that, like, Brett Howden's already been suspended? Do you think we see another suspension from the Hall hit? Or do you think that was shoulder first?
I thought it was shoulder first. I didn't think it was it didn't strike me as, oh, you can't do that. Could somebody find it in there if you look close enough? I suppose you could, but I thought it was a good hit. You don't want to see anybody get hurt, but I thought it was mano a mano, shoulder to shoulder, at least the initial point of contact.
Thatcher Demko, I know he was dehydrated, obviously, as the game went on, but he was really good in the first period. And Vancouver, to me, they got a real chance to make the playoffs because of Demko.
Well, I mean, isn't that true when you talk about where you start with building a contending team? If you don't have goaltending, it doesn't matter how much you can score. It doesn't matter how tough you are. It doesn't matter how great you are on special teams. If you can't keep the puck out of your own net, it greatly diminishes what you can do. And in some cases, if you're just a pretty good team, it completely eliminates the good you do. So, yeah, if he stays healthy and can play for them, I like them. Do you think they're a playoff team? I'm still not sure. But I tell you what, when I look at the new captain, and when I look at Pettersson is such a good player. I mean, man, is he good. They've got a lot of good pieces there, and you called him, I think I referred to him the same way last night, Di Giuseppe, the pizza man. He looks like a pretty handy guy to have around. So yeah, if they stay in the race, good for them. I mean, Tocchet seems to have them playing the kind of hockey he wants them to play. They got a pretty good bench when you look at that coaching staff, eh? I mean, you forget who they've got there. Those guys knew how to play a little bit, eh?
Oh yeah, Rick Tocchet was joking. He would love to have a game of where coaches played the other coaching staff. He feel like his team would win rather easily, and he's probably right. Him and definitely by the toughest coaching staff in the NHL. There's no question about that across the board. So, Bronte, we'll see how the Oilers respond on Saturday. Early on, a little adversity. It's always fun. Appreciate your time.
Okay, man. Talk to you later on. See ya.
It's Ruben Bronte, a.k.a. Robin. Brownlee, the Oil Report, brought to you by Volvo of Edmonton. Top in right now and get $5,000 off any 2023 model. 2:40. When we return, are we going to see another blowout? I think it's very likely. We'll discuss it next on the Gregor Show, live on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation YouTube, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
It's time to gear up for fall at Wolf GMC Buick, but there's a catch. We'll get to that. You're not going to pay high rates like 6.9%. You'll pay 0% financing on all in-stock GMC Sierra half-ton Pro Editions, and that's for 60 months. You'll also save $750 if you're a Costco member. 0% financing for 60 months on all in-stock GMC Sierra half-ton Pro Editions. The catch? You'll need to get here ASAP because inventory is cruising off the lot pretty quickly. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Hey world, get ready to believe. At Oodle Noodle, we serve up world-class, worldwide flavors in our sweet, saucy, and fiery noodles. We believe in the power of nudes. We've got everything from saucy mac and cheese to sizzling pad thai to so many other unbelievable dishes sure to make you a noodle convert for life. You've got to taste them to believe it. Don't be a skeptic. The proof is in the noodles. Check us out at oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle. We believe in noodles.
Rodeo clowning felt like an exciting opportunity. Boy, was I ever wrong. The Bulls. So predictable. But you know what's exciting and unpredictable? PlayAlberta.ca. I can bet on any sports game, play online casino games anytime, and buy lottery tickets anywhere.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today and get over $100 in welcome bonuses. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Building or renovating, you want to work with someone who sees and understands your vision. BIE Engineering is a family-owned, experienced structural engineering consulting firm serving commercial and residential clients in Edmonton and surrounding area. Homeowner or large company, they'll work with you to help see your ideas through. BIE Engineering can help prevent problems, deliver solutions, and minimize your risk. BIE Engineering. Request a quote for your project today. Visit BIEENG.com.
Thinking about solar power? Action Electrical wants to eliminate your entire home or business power bill and keep more cash in your pocket. With effective paybacks in 5 to 9 years, give solar a chance with Action and put your lazy roof to work. Alberta is the second highest province for the amount of full sunlight hours, and with system life exceeding 25 years, solar power is like a McDavid draft pick. Still have questions about solar power? Contact the professionals at actionelectrical.net today. That's actionelectrical.net.
Established in 2001 right here in Edmonton, Corporate Business Solutions has grown to become the largest Konica Minolta digital office equipment dealer in Western Canada. Office technologies may have changed over the past 22 years, but Corporate Business Solutions continues to provide guaranteed same-day service to local businesses right here in Edmonton. Our customers' loyal support has allowed Corporate Business Solutions to provide the service they deserve. Call 780-490-5600 or visit cbsca.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We've continued developing tools and are excited to announce our newest design, battery-powered nut runners. 4 models from 500 to 3,000 foot-pounds with more on the way. Learn more at cantork.com.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.245. Welcome back. Hey, boys, I had the same feeling after that 9-6 loss to the Flames in the playoffs. They bounced back well. I expect they will again from Wally. It's true. Did they lose to the Sharks in the playoffs in 2017, 7-0, and then bounce back the next game? So, you know what? It's one game. And I think we can accurately talk about how bad they were in one game. But the chances of this repeating itself, I will say this. That's one of the worst efforts for 60 minutes I've seen from Edmonton in a long time. I've seen them have other games where they shoot themselves in the foot and have terrible giveaways that led to goals or some really soft goals. But I think their lack of any sort of consistent work ethic last night, haven't seen that in a while. So I would be surprised if we see it again, even all season. Like, they'll lose some more games, don't get me wrong. But I don't think they're going to get their ass handed to them as bad as they did last night. Let's get to the NFL report now, because, hey, I think another blowout is coming tonight. Brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home with the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Go to legacyheating.ca. As we are joined now from Fox 4 in Kansas City, Rob Collins joins us. And, Rob, I know there's no guarantees in sports, but, man, the Kansas City Chiefs against the Denver Broncos. This one has lopsided written all over it.
Yeah, it certainly does. The Chiefs have won 15 straight games against the Broncos. You got to go back to 2015 to the last time Denver has beaten Kansas City. That was Gary Kubiak and Peyton Manning. Remember those guys when they actually played? So, yeah, I mean, blowout city potentially. But Denver always seems to play Kansas City tough. If you watch their games this year, they obviously got mauled by Miami. Remember that 70-20? Every other game, they've been kind of in the game. So depends on what we see tonight, how motivated Denver is. Obviously, it's an AFC rivalry game for the Chiefs. So it is a big game. They've talked all week about not taking these guys lightly just because, like you, everybody thinks it's going to be a blowout. I mean, they're 11-point favorites, and 11 points is a lot in the NFL.
Oh, it is a lot, Rob. Where do you see Pacheco at right now? Is he emerging as like a legit number one guy? Because I know he's getting a lot of red zones for fantasy people like it, but I'm just talking overall. Is he separating himself as the go-to number one guy there?
100%. He is the bell cow, and that man runs angry, kind of like a night after a bunch of pints and you're heading to the diner as fast as you can to get a big old plate of poutine. Well, that's how Pacheco runs. Mad. Denver gives up almost 190 yards on the ground. So I expect Pacheco to have a big night tonight. It's going to be windy. There may be a chance of rain, gusts up to about 30 miles an hour. Might be rainy towards the second half, and the Chiefs may have it in the bag by then. So I'm expecting Pacheco to have 2 touchdowns, maybe reach the century mark here.
Rob Collins joins us. Rob, one thing I've noticed, Patrick Mahomes avoiding sacks. Is that something he's talked about, that he wanted to eliminate the amount of sacks? The guy can extend plays, and he likes to do it, but he seemingly is throwing it away a little bit more than he has in the past. Or is the O-line just part of the reason why there's fewer sacks?
Well, he wants to avoid them. Obviously, no NFL quarterback wants to get hit. But in Patrick's mind, it's better for him to leave the pocket than to force it, especially with this young receiver group, because we've seen in the past where interceptions have been an issue for Patrick Mahomes. He's got 4 this year. Some of those aren't his fault, but this wide receiving crew is the youngest wide receiving crew in the NFL. So they're still trying to mesh with Patrick Mahomes. They're still trying to learn what he's going on. I bet if you asked a lot of Chiefs fans, they wouldn't know who the leading receiver is for the Kansas City Chiefs as far as wide receivers. It's
how much of a concern is that, Rob? This is a championship caliber team, and in the playoffs, hey, it's great to have an elite quarterback, but I know that Brady won early on. Maybe they didn't have an elite receiving corps some years. Obviously, later on with Gronk and Randy Moss, they did. But Is there any concern at all about not necessarily having any go-to reliable receiver? I know they have the tight end, but they don't have a receiver.
Yeah, Travis Kelce, he's expected to play tonight after the knee injury against the Vikings. The latest we're getting is that he will play because apparently his girlfriend's there, some singer that all the kids are talking about. But your point is very valid during the Detroit game. Remember when Mahomes threw that pick when they were behind? So there's not a go-to possession guy that you can really, really count on like he has had in years past. 10 different guys caught passes against the Vikings. So he is spreading it around a lot, but no one has really emerged as that guy that Patrick Mahomes can get to in the wide receiver core. We know Kelsey's his safety blanket, but Rashee Rice is the guy I think at the end of the year will be that guy.
That was going to be my next question because I know they got Valdez-Scantling has the most experience. Sky Moore's really young. Kadarius Toney's obviously been inconsistent his entire career. So if you were putting money on it, you'd say Rashee Rice by the end of the year will be Mahomes' favorite receiving target, excluding Kelsey, of course.
Yes, I agree. He's leading the wide receivers in receptions right now, and he's just getting better and better. And he's big and he's physical and he runs hard after the catch. He could get a lot of yak yards, and he might do that tonight because, again, the wind, I think we may see some short dump-off passes where there's an opportunity for Rice or maybe a Sky Moore, somebody else to break a long one against Denver.
Rob, what do you make of the Chiefs defense? Like Russell Wilson's numbers aren't awful. No. In Denver this season. They're pretty decent, actually. But so, Chris Jones and company, how do you view, first off, the D-line up against the Broncos O-line? Like, I think they should have an advantage, but how much?
I agree. They should dominate. And remember, Chris Jones is certainly motivated after the contract issue earlier in this year. He's got to get a bunch of sacks to reach those incentives to get the bag. He's already had 4.5 this season so far. So he and Mike Dana, George Karlaftis, if he plays, he's questionable coming in. Those guys should have a big night and put a lot of pressure on Russell Wilson. And this is the best defense Patrick Mahomes has ever had here in Kansas City under Steve Spagnuolo. I mean, they're fifth now, tied for fifth, giving up 16 points a game. And these guys are just getting better and better. Those guys were really young last year in the secondary.
Yeah.
Like Justin Reed, the veteran back there, the veteran safety, has got Trent McDuffie and L'Jarius Sneed, man. That cornerback, you saw what he did on Justin Jefferson. I know Jefferson was hampered. He didn't play the whole game because of a hamstring, but LJ is knocking out the number one wide receiver on every team. And, let's face it, Denver doesn't have the horses to keep up with Kansas City on offense, despite Kansas City not playing at its best and not having a true number one wide receiver.
Interesting how you mentioned that defense, because at times I think the Chiefs had to win by outscoring their opposition a little bit more. They had an okay defense, but never an elite defense by any stretch. And in the secondary, if you're limiting the big plays from the opposition, especially in today's NFL where everybody loves the big play, it seemingly makes it easier. So I'm not going to say that the defense is the strength yet when you got Mahomes and Kelsey, but how much closer do you think it is? You mentioned it's the best defense they've had, but how close do you would say, hey, you know what, like offense, defense, I'm not sure who's more important.
Yeah, obviously Patrick Mahomes is the most important, but defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo said last week after the Vikings game, it was nice for the defense to win one, right? Because we've seen the Chiefs offense do it so often, but they're pretty close. I mean, they're very comparable. This defense has got something to prove. They understand they'll be playing in the shadows all the time as long as Patrick Mahomes is under center for the Chiefs. But these guys are young, they're hungry, they fly around, and they hit hard too. They can bring the lumber.
Rob, looking at it's early on, it's 5 games. Miami, Buffalo, obviously Buffalo, that both of those teams look pretty good. The AFC North, if the Bengals get going, they might be the best team there. The South, I don't think has a real contender. The Chargers got off to a slow start, but like the Chargers, Chiefs, Bills, and Dolphins, like I see those as the 4 best teams. Do you have anybody else that you would put in that category in the AFC?
No, and I think the tiers are very far in between those 4 that you mentioned and everybody else. And the Chiefs, really, the next 3 games, they play Denver, they play the Chargers, and then Denver again. They could have a stranglehold on this division by the end of October, man. I mean, they're used to winning the divisions here. That's expected. Super Bowls are expected. But I'm with you, man. That Miami game with the Chiefs in Germany, that's going to be the game. That's the one that everybody here is talking about because no one's really afraid of the Broncos, and we've seen the Chargers and their coach, Brendan Staley, make so many mistakes that the Chiefs aren't really worried about anybody in this division. So I'm with you. Miami, Buffalo, if they get going, but I think Josh Allen's regressed just a little bit, and if Burrow stays healthy, man, when you got that receiving crew with Jamar Chase, those guys can always be dangerous.
Has Swift mania become too much for Chief fans?
It's too much for this guy. I can tell you that. I appreciated the Metallica intro right before it came on. That's more my style. Guy went to high school in the 80s, man. But it's crazy here. I mean, it'd be like Connor McDavid walking around town, just out in the open. Everybody's going nuts. I have a 12-year-old daughter. She's interested in football, so I guess that's a good thing. You're always interested in football with Patrick Mahomes here, but she's asking me more and more questions about football. So I think there's a line. The Swifties are obviously on cloud nine, and some of maybe the football purists and some of the old crotchety guys, like I'll put myself in that category, like she's not playing the game. Let them have their personal lives. I don't care.
Yeah, and that's the balance about it, right? It's like, oh man, like, hey, if Kelsey wants to date someone, I have no issue with it. I also do think, you know what, if all of a sudden, like the NFL is a big dog, but Taylor Swift's a pretty big dog in a global standpoint. So if all of a sudden it brings teenage girls or young men and women who weren't watching the game and suddenly they're watching, I don't see how this is a negative.
No, it's a score for the NFL for sure. And I'm sure you heard Bill Belichick a couple of weeks ago said that Taylor Swift was the biggest catch Travis Kelce ever made. So, I mean, you know, with her tour going on, her movie coming out, that's what people in the newsroom tell me. I'm not really up on it. But, I mean, it's a great publicity tool and great promotion, not only for the Chiefs, but for Taylor Swift.
Now, are the Chiefs buying into this? Like, are they playing Swift songs at the games now even more than ever? What happens? Or are they trying to leave it alone as an organization?
Oh, they're playing along, man. How could you not? As you mentioned, this promotion gold, right? So they're showing her in the luxury box, and she's going to be at the game tonight from everything that we've heard. We got news reporters out just waiting to see if she'll walk in, if they can get her on video. So it's a little crazy here in KC other than just Patrick Mahomes, man.
Lots more TMZ at the game.
Yeah, that's right. A lot more media members in the post-game room the last couple of weeks. That's definitely for sure.
Well, Rob, it should be about 15 in a row. Do you know what's the longest? Is that the Chiefs' longest record against the team that they've ever beaten? 15 in a row against one franchise?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I haven't been here the whole time since the Chiefs have, but I've been here 12 years, and I believe that's the longest that they've ever had against one team. So, I mean, that's just unbelievable when you think about it. 15 straight over a division opponent.
Yeah.
15 straight over anybody's amazing, but a division opponent whom you play twice a year, maybe 3 times, you meet in the playoffs, they know you. But Denver's in disarray, man. They are falling apart. They're beleaguered. Sean Payton's way in over his head. They're having issues like Jerry Jeudy today, maybe traded. Frank Clark used to play for the Chiefs, took a big pay cut. He may be released. So I'm with you, man. I see this game like 30-13 or something like that. I don't see it being very close.
No, it definitely seems like a blowout for sure. So hopefully Pacheco runs wild and gets me 4 touchdowns for my fantasy team. That's all I need.
Hey, agreed. I have Rashee Rice on my team, and I parlayed both of them to score tonight. So, man, drinks might be on me later tonight. Who knows?
Rob, great to catch up with you, man. We appreciate it. Have a good one. Enjoy the game.
Yes, sir, Jason. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate y'all.
That is Rob Collins joining us from Fox 4 in Kansas City. And you know what? I know some people, this is terrible for the NFL. I don't see how it's terrible at all. Like, Taylor Swift is a massive star globally. Like, you think that Patrick Mahomes is big. Patrick Mahomes, who might be the biggest NFL star, pales in comparison to Taylor Swift globally. Okay, it's not close. You got to remember, NFL is very much North American. Yeah, I know they go to Europe and they play there a little bit, but it's not the same. And if all of a sudden Swift is bringing more people, like the NHL would die, right? And I don't even know, so I don't want to speak out of turn. I have no idea if Austin Matthews dating anyone. I don't really follow the personal lives of players, but let's say, because I know McDavid has girlfriends, so I'm not going to mention him. So let's say Austin Matthews suddenly was dating Taylor Swift and she's at games. Like the NHL would love it. Make no mistake about it. You don't have to like her music to realize that it's good for your sport. It's 2 different things. Coming up after 3 o'clock, Terry Ryan will join us. We also will hear from Lance Lazowski. Buffalo loading up on their young guys. Is this the year for the Sabres? You know why the Sabres are cool? Because they have goal songs for their players, Connor Halley. I've been talking about this since 2012. The Oilers should have done it. The Oilers, you know what? You could have been ahead of the game. I gave you the free advice and never did it. Now you see other teams doing it. Fans love it. Do you see the response on social media? You can go check out the Sabres. They have all of their goal songs for every individual player. And what's funny, I've talked to the Oilers players for years about it. They think it's a great idea. Why the Oilers don't do it, I have no clue. None. It's such an easy way to connect your players to your fans. Simple. But they don't do it. Ridiculous. But the Sabres, the reason they make the playoffs this year, nice, of course not because the goal song, because they had it last year. But I think they're a playoff team this year. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports Center update brought to you by BIE Engineering, your structural engineering specialist. Whether you're in the process of rental or building your dream home, BIE can help you out. Go to BIEENG.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
The Edmonton Oilers announcing today that Danny Ryland Kearney has been added to their hockey operations department as a regional scout. Danny played for Northeastern University before founding and serving as commissioner of the National Women's Hockey League. The Oilers off today and tomorrow, back in action Saturday. Rematch against the Canucks. Elsewhere around the NHL, you got the Rangers in Buffalo taking on the Sabres. Blue Jackets host the Flyers. Red Wings in Jersey. Kraken up against the Preds. Blues in Dallas. Wild host the Panthers. And the Golden Knights taking on the San Jose Sharks. Week 6 of the NFL kicks off as the Broncos head to Arrowhead, taking on the Chiefs. Kickoff set for 6:15. You can watch this one with Brandon Douglas down at the Windermere Canadian Brewhouse with a chance to qualify for a trip to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. One game in the majors. The Phillies looking to wrap up their series against the Atlanta Braves. That one gets going at 6:07. Phillies lead 2-1. 2 games in the AJ. Canmore hosting Grand Prairie, while Fort Mac heads to Canmore. Both those games get going at 7 o'clock. Coming up in hour 2, we'll be joined by our co-host Terry Ryan, also Buffalo Sabres beat reporter Lance Lazowski, and we'll speed things up in the Cantorg Racing Report with Colin Livingston. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the
help you optimize your crop yield and quality while enhancing the health of your land. Co-op, we're all growing together. Here for your farm, here for your family. Learn more at coop.crs/farm.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Roger Weert and his team at Weert, Pearson, Akel & Associates, Private Wealth Management, helping business owners and professionals build, protect, and enjoy their wealth. Earn more now and call Roger and his team at 988-4119.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 3 o'clock Thursday afternoon. Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, also live on Oilers Nation YouTube. Lots of people are fired up. I love it. If you don't have passion, why are you here? Why are you here? Everybody's fired up. It's good. You get emotionally invested. That's why you're a good fan. Last night, some of you might have turned it off. Or you told yourself, you know what? I'm done. Second period, I'm leaving. But then you came back because curiosity always gets the cat. Or it gets you as a fan. You don't want to look away. You're like, well, hey, you never know. I might miss 3 goals. I might miss a fight. So I watch the third, as painful as it is. It happens. Good news. I will say this very confidently, Oiler fans. That will be the only 7-goal deficit that you watch for the Oilers this season, at least for them on the deficit side. They won't lose another game by 7 goals this year. Mark it down. Book it. All right? Put those odds on PlayAlberta.ca. I'll tell you right now, I'll be taking that all day because it ain't happening again. Keep in mind, it's only happened 15 times in franchise history. So it's not like it's a Super Bowl take. 3,400 regular season games. 15 times they have lost by 7 or more goals. So what you saw last night is rare. A 0.004% chance. It doesn't happen very often. If you sat through it, good for you. And Jace, my friends and I were going to get tickets to the game last night, but ended up going to the game in November for scheduling reasons. Dodged a bullet from Sarah in Vancouver. Oh, Sarah, you know what? You're probably like, yeah, I get it. Missed that one. Makes total sense. This is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. As we welcome to the program now, of course, our big guest, our weekly Thursday co-host, brought to you by Spruce Grove Saints. Get your tickets. It's the exciting AJHL action at sprucegrovesaints.ca. A gentleman who did play in the junior leagues back in Quesnel in the BCHL, then went on to the WHL, then the NHL, as well as stops in the AHL, and in the, I don't know if they have like an official league for ball hockey, but if there was, and there probably is, he was in that one as well. Terry Ryan joins us. TR, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. I've got to correct you for all the BC hockey fans out there. It's now the BCHL. When I played, there were 2 junior A leagues in BC. Mine was the Rocky Mountain Junior Hockey League.
Okay, the Rocky Mountain.
Yeah, it all ended up being absorbed by the BCJ.
Yeah. Okay. But, so technically, I was right. Now the league that you played in now is now considered the BCHL, right?
Yeah. There were the BCJHL at the time and the Rocky Mountain, and they combined. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, there they combined. So were you in like the B league back then, and then they combined to make it one, or was your league better?
I came out. It was already junior A. I think it was the 3rd. God, before that, I think it might have been the Kootenay League.
Okay.
I'm not sure. The Barkerville. I don't know. I'm putting together all these names of various events and organizations that are up there. But I know that when I went, it was their 3rd or 4th year playing junior A, and it was kind of a new thing for Quesnel. It was very interesting at the time for a lot of reasons, and for that reason, they also started affiliating. It wasn't just me. There was Ryan Marsh, Sheldon Surrey, and we had a few guys from Victoria there. There were a lot of guys sent there from the Dub.
Okay. Now, I noticed in the background, TR, now, did you have that Shoresy poster before and I never noticed it, or just put that on the wall now?
I put that up recently. It might have been there for one show, but they sent them out to us.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Shirts off, eh? Nice.
Hey,
You have to suck in for that picture? You have to go in a little bit of a, make sure you're looking good leading up to that photo shoot?
I knew Jared called me and asked me to work out. I got a trainer for, I don't know, like 6 months. Alex Newhook's trainer. Shout out to Alex Newhook. Ryan Powers, his name. I used to play hockey with him.
Okay.
And he became, got his degree in kinesiology and then became a personal trainer, played at UPEI. Shout out to the Panthers. Anyway, I trust him a lot. I just called him. I said, look, they want me to do this. And, Jared asked me. I said, I can't believe you should be telling me. You pay me good money. You give me an opportunity to be on, a major TV show in international. So I told him, I said, no questions asked. Now, not that I look like an Adonis, but, I made sure that I was okay. I'm in shape,
Yeah, you're working out, probably eating better, for sure, right?
Yeah.
Six packs made in the kitchen, ATR?
Well, other than the six-pack, for whatever reason, look, I enjoy my beers, I guess. I'm assuming that's why I've never had a six-pack. I've gotten in great shape. I passed the beep test. I've been VO2 max has been through the roof, but I never really have that six-pack. But I don't know. Maybe if I went down to 170, I've always felt comfortable between 190 and 200. And, I always assumed that because I do eat well. But Fridays or Saturdays, I have my beers.
Yeah. No, that's fine, man. But it's my nutritionist told me you want to get that last little bit. It's all going to be in the kitchen. You can work out as hard as you want. You can do every crunch in the world. But if you want to shed that little bit to expose the six-pack, that's what you're going to have to do. Now, speaking of exposed, TR, the Oilers got exposed last night in Vancouver. Oh, it was a dreadful performance by the Edmonton Oilers. Jay Woodcroft talking after the game. Hey, we were in preseason work ethic and never matched it. Now, you've played in games where I'm sure it doesn't matter what happens, nothing gets going. And because you might have a bad 10 minutes and then teams figure it out, but the Oilers could just never get on track last night.
Yeah, it was frustrating to watch. We all know they're not that bad, right? They're not that bad. I think it was their worst loss in like 5 or 6 years. So, yeah, but there were some things I found alarming, but you got to put yourself in that situation too. It's the first game of the year. No matter what people say, if you could get a person that's got a reputation to be cold as ice. I don't Carey Price maybe, but you do get thinking, when the puck starts going in and it's just like, when's the plane? I got to get this one over with in the bag. The game's over. I got to finish it. You could tell yourself 100% that that's not the way you're thinking. I'm going to go out and I'm going to do my best, but still it just seeps in. It's 6-1. The game's over. You got one foot out the door. I know what it's like, so I wouldn't be judging them on the last part of that game.
Yeah. Oh, well, now, what were some things that were concerning for you?
Really, honestly, look, I don't want to pick on anybody in particular, but that give a crap meter got to go up a little bit. And I know what I just said, and it's true, but I don't know. The last goal of the game, Bouchard's standing right there. You got to have the guy. You go to the net hard. You got to assume you're going to be defended hard. That's an NHL. That could have been like Pee-wee. If I came out of junior, like anybody could have scored there. I think it was Miller. Anybody. You could just go there. Like, you got to pay a price. It's the NHL, man. Like, that's the first thing I remember going up is how hard it was to be in front of the net. And, in a few, they looked displaced. I think it was Besser's second goal, maybe.
That was when Bouchard just lost the battle behind the net. And you're just like, what happened? Yeah,
like losing battles. If you're losing battles at the beginning of the first game of the year or by extension the first or, any time in the playoffs, there's something wrong. Say what you want. I know it's early, but you are out there to prove a point. It's the first game of the year. You're hyped up. Half the hockey world, if not more, is picking your team to win the Stanley Cup. There's 32 teams in the league and more on the way, man. You better get going. And you're out there and you're behind the net. All eyes on you. All of Canada, all of the games on TV. Everybody wants to see McDavid and company and what they're going to do. And you're going to be out there behind the net, barely holding on to people, but barely throwing your weight around at all. Some guys are, I don't know, to me, that's an asset that Kane usually has, is that he can finish. He's good coming out of the zone with the puck on his stick because he's strong. But I didn't really see that. I know the minuses, some of them were tough, weren't his fault. And this is by extension the entire team. Yeah. And the other thing is the young guys that made it, and even in their second or even third year, you're still kind of getting your feet wet. But, if you're a rookie and that's what the vets are going to show you, I don't know. If I guess a positive was that it would have given me confidence. If I'm out there and I'm first year in the league, this is my first game, and I'm watching people that are reputable players out there not being able to throw a hit through a wet paper bag, I think for me, I'd say I'm going to take the bull by the horns. Now I can play. God, the sky's the limit. Judging by this game, I can play on the first line.
Well, I was a little surprised. The early on, Desharnais, that was in the first 5 minutes of fight. Guys are fired up. That's great. but you're getting your ass handed to you. It's 6-1 on the road, and they're taking slashing penalties. Like, I know the game's different now, Terry, and so maybe I'm too old school, but Edmonton is a bigger, more physical team top to bottom than Vancouver. Like, Vancouver has Joshua. That's it. They got no one else that you really have to worry about. I was stunned that the Edmonton Oilers at least didn't try to bully them, especially knowing you're playing them again on Saturday. I was stunned that there was like virtually
if you have a team
zero
to do that,
attempted other than a slash on the back of the ankles.
If you have a team to do that, you have to do it. It's I know, and I know we talked the game changed, and I'm starting to think the last few days, like, I know it did, but how much did it? There's been lots of fights in exhibition.
Yes.
I just was at a game. I saw the best player on the planet getting, arguably, for his time, Sidney Crosby.
Sidney Crosby.
I don't want to get into that comparison. But, I'm watching him fight in exhibition. I don't know. I'm watching. There's all kinds. They went to Australia in the first game of the year that was basically a scrimmage. There's a fight in that one. There's a fight. The Leafs opener, it took about 2 minutes. There's a fight in the Edmonton game. I don't know. To me, I'm going, I don't think it's as out the door as everybody thinks. And, it's still physics out there, and there's no out of bounds. In other sports, there's out of bounds. There ain't no out of bounds. So if you're out there and you've got a team that can possibly intimidate, because anybody who played knows what it feels like to be out there and looking at the other team and going, God, ideally I get a point or two. If we can pull out a wing, great, but let's get on that bus because I don't want to get hit anymore. I'm getting paid, and I don't want to have broken ribs, and every time I go out there, so-and-so's, I don't know, I'll use Chicago, my last NHL game. Jansen's, Probert, Russell. That's one line. Either one of them might put me through the boards. I got to really be on my toes here. And, I was always thinking, if I'm out there and it's not those three guys, I don't know, if it's just three guys that go out and, I don't know, Jonathan Drouin, I'm loving life. I'm loving it. I'm skating wherever I want. Home ice doesn't even mean anything. I'm going, this is great. And whenever I see one of those guys, I'm going to pop them, right? That's just that's mammals being mammals. That's predators and prey. I don't know why they didn't do it more. Sometimes you could just hear a pin drop. I really don't know. Now, the bright side, like I said, it is game one.
Yeah, it is. And that's the thing, right? Like, it's one game. I'm guessing it'll be super easy for Jay Woodcroft and his coaching staff to get the attention of his team. You play that poorly, the players are proud. They're going to come back. It's the same team. So you're going to want to show up without question. But one game, Tarek, I can say the Oilers stunk. That's a fact. I don't think the Oilers stink, if that makes any sense. But if I'm a coach, what's the one thing you're watching for in the first 5 minutes on Saturday night?
Well, it's going to be what I've already talked about. I think the only reason is because I think everybody knows that they got the skill and they have the leadership, right? We know that. You can have an off game. So I know I like to go on rants, but that's what I just want to see the effort, because I know if the effort comes, eventually they're going to win more games than they lose. They're just too good. And, some of those plays were careless. To me, it all goes back to that, not being focused, not being ready. Whatever part of that box you want to pick, not intense, not hitting enough. It's all really derives from the same real place, even those lazy passes. But they are skilled, arguably the most skilled. They had the same guys generally. They're going to be on the power play this year that just set records. I really wouldn't worry about any of that. I really wouldn't. I guess even goaltending, I hear all kinds of overkill today on what's the word, overreaction. Both goalies weren't great, but again, we've got large sample sizes that says they're better than that. So I don't know. I hate to sound like everybody else. I wouldn't want to hit the panic button, but what I do want to see is focus on my job. Everybody do their, go out there and do what they were made the team to do, play their role, and give 100%, as they say. Not to sound too cliche, but that's what I'd be looking for. Because if not, it's alarming. They're good enough in every other category to win most games.
One last one before we go. Hey, Greg's, the Oilers were almost as bad as TR's team at the Chicklets Cup, as per Whitney. Whew. Yikes. Oh, yeah. How was the Chicklets Cup, TR? What happened?
It was good. I tell you, we lost to a good team. So there's Chicklets Cup, and then, every time you see me playing these national and international tournaments in ball hockey, we're playing 5-on-5 on a real rink, right?
Yeah.
So there's way more room out there. I'm not making an excuse. I'm just giving you context to this. So the Chicklets Cup is 3-on-3, and then I've played international 3-on-3 tournaments too, and this is even smaller. Chicklets Cup is like you can wind up from your own net and it might go in. I mean, we got multiple wouldn't be a fluke. We have probably 6 goals from literally winding up back there. So there's not really many places to move. Now, I picked our team on skill more than anything. I made sure that nobody was out of shape. But what I did know is that, like, the team we lost to were the Ottawa Godfathers. And we've played them in nationals before. We've lost to them. We've won. I don't know what it would be. It's pretty close. Maybe 50-50. The other team in the other division that beat Noseface, they played off as our team's going to play Noseface. At first, that was the case because we were both dominant teams. But now I told the boys going in, I said, it's a flip of a coin with the final 4 or 5 teams that I'm seeing here. And that was exactly. And Noseface's team didn't make it either. They lost to the Reapers, who in the Nationals are, I believe, the Brampton Midnight Express, a few of those guys. It's a few, now it's getting peppered with some real good players. So on camera, it was like, what are we doing? But as soon as we got in the room, I was like, shook the guy's hand. I'm like, Biz, that it's a flip of a coin, and it was the flip of a coin. It was a great time more than anything, and I'm tipping my hat to the Ottawa Godfathers who beat us. They were great. But that's the way it goes, not to ramble, but I knew that. I think we mercied 3 games. And then Noseface we lost in the shootout, so that was pretty much even. And then 2 15s run. And then we lost to the Godfathers. So it's what I thought. We could have won, we didn't. They played great, and they had a good strategy.
We'll come back. Strategy, the Buffalo Sabres, their strategy, lock up their young defensemen for as long as you can. I think it's a bold and good strategy. We'll discuss it next on The Gregor Show, live on Sports 1440 and Oilers Nation YouTube, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
A full-service provider of heavy haul transportation and rigging at the highest level. Next Gen Transportation.
We're developing new and innovative ways to transport oversized and overweight equipment to remote and challenging locations.
Our Next Gen team leads with a wealth of experience and expertise. But most importantly, we put safety first, so everyone gets home safely.
We also take great pride in supporting our local community programs and teams. Good luck to everyone this season and in the year ahead.
Visit nextgentransportation.com.
One call does it all. Action Electrical is proud to celebrate 50 years of providing complete electrical services and a full circle of care, including projects, service, tag, and energy. From humble beginnings in a small Sherwood Park basement to a family-run business, the Action Electrical stamp can be found on some of the most iconic schools, office buildings, and warehouses across Canada. From conception to completion and beyond, contact
the professionals
at actionelectrical.net today.
At Fountain Tire, save big during our Road Ready sales event until October 21st. Who wouldn't want up to 25% on select tires and a bonus of $50 off any service? A lizard, maybe? Or a ghost? Restrictions apply. Financing available. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
This is Kevin Carius. Saturday night, join me at Century Casino for the first home game of the season. Edmonton against Vancouver.
It's the Sports 1440 Watch Party with Kevin Carius. Saturday night at 8 at Century Casino, Fort Road.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Mr. Rooter. Plumbing at Mr. Rooting. They only employ the finest organic, grain-fed, free-range plumbers. For all your plumbing needs, go to mrrooter.ca.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.
We roll through Thursday afternoon. Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan with you on Sports 1440, also live on Oilers Nation YouTube. Keep hitting the subscribe button, boys and girls. Numbers keep climbing. Love to see it. Love to see it. We'll have more prizes to give away there. Also, let's get now around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's, and it's back. One of your favorite games. Monopoly, with even more chances to play. First, you can peel on the pack, then peel in your app. For a limited time, see the rules at mcdpromotion.ca. And we head off to Buffalo, where the Sabres, pretty excited about the new contract. Owen Power has signed an 8-year extension at $8.35 million. It kicks in next year. Rasmus Dahlin signed an extension for $11 million. So there's a $19.35 million for the two young defensemen that they expect to be the towers of power in Buffalo for quite some time, and hopefully help them end what has been a 12-year drought without the playoffs. I think there's a good chance it might end this season. We'll see as Lance Lazowski joins us from the Buffalo News, a longtime beat reporter for the Sabres. And Lance, I guess let's start with that. It's got to be a lot of excitement right now in Buffalo as both Dahlin and Power are locked up long term.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, not only the 91-point season a year ago with almost everybody on the roster having career years, but this is 5 of their 4 players that they're locked in long term. Dahlin, Power, Tage Thompson, Dylan Cousins, Mattias Samuelsson. 2 years ago, guys, they had just picked Owen Power first overall. They were waiting to trade Jack Eichel. Now they feel like they're finally ready to make a push, and they still have cap space. Their prospect pipeline is still filled, so they've got plenty of ammunition to continue to build a good group around that core.
Oh, yeah, they still got lots of money. And, you look at their forwards, you look at their defense. Obviously, the only question is, I know there's lots of people high on them, Lance, but, I look at the young goaltenders, and they got a few, so they hope that one of them pans out. And, we'll see how young Devin Levi can do, because he's kind of, for him to come directly out of college to be a starting goaltender in the NHL, like Tom Barrasso did it out of high school and then won the Calder, which is mind-blowing when you consider anyone the Vezina straight out of high school, which is freakish. But really, other than him, it's never really happened. So how much do you think Devin Levi ultimately is going to play this year for Buffalo?
I think he's going to play a lot, but they need to be careful. You can't get greedy. I know they really pushed him to the limit in March and April, but this is an 82-game season. He's trying for college where you only have weekend games. You got plenty of practice time. That's why they need Eric Comrie, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen to establish themselves as the number 2, a reliable number 2. They don't need any of these goalies, Levi included, to be great. They just need good goaltending based on how their offense is, the amount of goals they're capable of scoring, and they do feel their goaltending is going to be better regardless of who's in net because they improved their defense. Connor Clifton, Eric Johnson. And just as a group, their team defense should be better now that they've got these younger guys have more experience. Even Tage Thompson only started playing center 2 years ago. We know how difficult that position is from the defensive aspect of it. And he needs to get better. They need to start winning more face-offs. There's a lot that goes into it. But, everything they've seen from Levi, everything he's shown, he has the unique skill set, unique set of intangibles that have him prepared to make this jump. It's just a matter of how much are they going to push him? Are they going to push him too much? Because they need to be careful here.
Yeah, no question about it.
Lance, I was actually at the last exhibition game. Crosby and company were in town, and seeing Buffalo play live, I was enthralled. I couldn't believe how big and how much of a presence Dahlin and Power had. And by Thompson, a lot of their better players are huge. Now, you got Zach Benson, who had a great camp. He played well that night. He's tiny. You saw the rest of camp. You follow the team. How was he with the physical issues so far? I mean, I guess that would probably be a problem, but it doesn't appear that it has been.
Well, right now they have him on a line with Casey Middlestad and Jordan Greenway. The way those two, they can win the puck battles for Zach Benson. They can help him through those areas of his game. To me, Harry, I think that defensive awareness in his own zone is going to be one area that Zach Benson is going to have to work on and really prove to everybody. That's going to be one of the separators that allows him to stay beyond those 9 games. Like, you got to pick up your guys in coverage. He's great on the back check. It's not for a lack of effort. He's a hound on the puck, but you got to know your coverages. You got to know it. There's just certain subtleties in the defensive aspects of the game you're not going to learn until you experience them. So we'll see. I mean, they made it clear to Zach Benson, no pressure. They think that he has elite offensive ability, elite offensive instincts that have really allowed him to get this opportunity. They think they're in a better spot to have a young player like that. And we'll see where it goes. But we all know, guys, 18 years old. You mentioned the physical part of it. 82-game season with travel. It is very difficult for even a number 1 pick to do it, let alone a kid who went at number 13. So I would be shocked if he's here beyond 9 games, but they're going to see how it goes. He certainly had an incredible training camp in preseason that really, he gave them no choice. He forced them to keep him at this point.
And speaking of defense, I'm assuming Eric Johnson's going to play a big role in the development of their young defensemen. Has that been established so far?
Absolutely. And it's the small things, right? Like 35 years old, coming up on 1,000 games, Stanley Cup champion. He's really well respected for the way that he takes care of himself, right? Like, I know in Colorado they had a sauna club there where all the defensemen, because of Eric Johnson, they all did the sauna together after practice every day. Well, Eric Johnson arrived in Buffalo. He told Rasmus Dahlin, buy a sauna for your house. You won't regret it. Dahlin didn't ask any questions. He bought one. Like, with a young defenseman, like, there's just certain things you don't know until you've gone through it. So it's somebody else to lean on. And that's been a big piece of Owen Power's development, right? I mean, Dahlin came in number 1 pick, didn't have the supporting cast around him, and that's why it was very up and down and a lot of downs for an extended period of time. Whereas now they've got a really good group around somebody like Owen Power to where he's going to be able to avoid some of the pitfalls that guys like Dahlin and even Eric Johnson early in his career, experienced.
Lance Zazowski joins us talking Buffalo Sabres. Of course, you look at their division, and really, Lance, to me, the one area, as exciting as Buffalo was, they missed the playoffs by 1 point. Their 5-on-5 defensive goals against and shots against, everything else, that was their biggest weakness. How do they improve there? I know that they brought in Connor Clifton, they brought in Eric Johnson, but 2 guys can't magically solve everything. How much of it is experience? How much has Don Granato talked about just tightening things up defensively 5-on-5?
So some of it, tightening up defensively has definitely been an emphasis, especially from the forwards, because a lot of their issues last year were pressing for offense, turning the puck over. Then you put your D and your goalie in a bad situation. Now they think that, again, like Clifton and Johnson, only 2 guys, but last year, like Samuelson and Jokiharju went down the first couple weeks of the season. And then they had Jacob Bryson on the first pair. Ilya Labushka had to play more minutes, and he got exposed in those situations. So they think depth, they got more options. Part of it, I think, is really their structure's fine. They showed it late last season. They were able to buckle down. It's just getting your young forwards to be detailed, shift in and shift out. Some of it's just inexperience. Some of it is, guys like JJ Peterka, for example, was a rookie last year, high-end offensive ability, but lower levels, he's not held accountable for even the slightest mistake. And even in the American League, he can back check and force a turnover. In the NHL, you're not going to be able to do that. Connor McDavid going the other way and scoring under a goalie. So, these guys, sometimes you got to learn lessons the hard way. But it's definitely going to be something to monitor because you can't play that way for 82 games. I don't care who's in goal for you. You're going to get exposed.
Yeah, 100%. Jeff Skinner. I know that, it's hard to live up to the $9 billion contract, but man, the last 2 years, he's been pretty solid. The prior years to that, not so much, but the last 2 years, he's been really consistent. You're a 33, 35 goal man. That's pretty solid. What's been the change for Skinner the last 2 years compared to the previous few?
Well, hey, it's amazing what can happen when your coach doesn't put you on a line with Curtis Lazar and Riley Shea. And in all due respect to those players, but if you're paying Jeff Skinner $9 million a year, you shouldn't be putting him on the fourth line. A lot of this, guys, is, first of all, look at the talent that Jeff Skinner gets to play with every night. He's on a line with Tage Thompson and Alex Tuch. And I don't think people around the league talk about Alex Tuch enough. He is a really dynamic player as a power forward. That's part of it. But Jeff Skinner also, in my opinion, really added other layers to his game. He's getting better along the wall. I think that he noticed throughout those 2 years where he had trouble getting ice time under Ralph Kruger that I got to be better in different areas. Like, I'm not going to always score the way that I did earlier in my career. Like, I'm not as fast. Like, he's not as fast as a lot of the young forwards coming to league. Great edge work, but elite speed is not something that Jeff Skinner's always good about. And it's system. Ralph Kruger, one of the really, really prominent weaknesses with Kruger as a coach on the offensive side was the way they were breaking the puck out. They weren't getting any speed through the neutral zone, and then you're not taking advantage of all the talent that you have now. Skinner's very good on the rush. So when you're out there in a system with elite defensemen like Power and Dahlin, or at least defensemen with elite offensive ability, you're going to be put in much better positions to score. Plus, he's getting more power play time. Kruger wasn't putting him on the power play to try to make an example of his defensive habits. And defense is always going to be a sore spot in Skinner's game. But it's the way that he's adapted and sort of added to his game down low, making more plays, taking advantage of his other options. It's been really fascinating to watch because a player who scored as much as he has in his career to continue to try to become more of a playmaker, it's been notable for sure.
Lance, the Sabres are on their way to being a wagon, man. They got a lot of great players. They seem to be well balanced, depending how Levi does. I mean, I didn't think I'd say it 3 months ago, but after having seen camp on TV and after having seen a game, I think they can make the playoffs, and I think a lot of fans there think they can. But who do you think they usurp to get in there? It's a tough place to be.
Yes, it is. I mean, Florida's dealing with injuries early, but Montour, Ekblad be back by Christmas, and Florida showed last year, just like St. Louis did back in 2019, you can't count them out too early. So Tampa Bay, no, they don't have Vasilevsky, but they play really strong team defense that might let them survive. So that's a big key here. Plus, you got Ottawa and Detroit. This is a very deep division. Now, I don't think Ottawa and Detroit are as advanced as Buffalo is in terms of the rebuild and having what it takes depth-wise to be a contender, a playoff contender. But you still got to beat those teams. Like, if you come in and have a bad night, particularly on the defensive side, Detroit can put 7 on the board. Ottawa can put 7 on the board. So this group, a lot of it's going to be managing expectations. February came around last season, and even their most talented players on the Sabres started gripping the stick, started to make uncharacteristic turnovers. They weren't paying attention to the details to help put them in a position where they were in a really good spot in terms of competing for the playoffs. So how are they going to handle that pressure, expectations? Because they're not going to catch anybody by surprise this year. Everybody knows around the league that Buffalo's a team. If you don't have your best, good luck.
Tage Thompson, 47 goals last year, 37 the year before. What do you think happens this year?
I think he gets to 50, and he got 47 when he was dealing with multiple injuries throughout the second half of the year. He got knocked out of the All-Star game, getting a bothersome hit. I think it was a hit pointer the night before the All-Star break last season. So a healthy Tage Thompson with Jeff Skinner, Alex Tuch, and I think their power play is going to be even better this year, guys. I know it ranked high in the NHL, but Dahlin's gotten better on the power play. There's a lot of opportunity they think they missed out on last year when it comes to the man advantage because he started shading the Thompson side of the ice. So I think they're going to have a lot more movement on the power play. We'll see how it goes. But, Thompson should have gotten 50 last year, and he would have if it weren't for the injury. So 50 and 100 is not a stretch whatsoever.
No, it doesn't seem that way. That guy shoots absolute lasers. Got one of the hardest shots.
Oh, and the stick handling too. When you have that size, that shot, skating, stick handling, he's one of the most exciting players to watch in the league. And And that's saying something just based on how, how much talent there is at this point.
Yeah, no, he definitely is one of the most watchable players in the league for sure. Lance, enjoy the season. I know Sabre fans are pretty excited. They're an exciting team to watch. I'm looking forward to see if they end the 12-year drought. I really hope they do. I picked them to, so I hope I'm right. We'll see what happens. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Jason. Always a pleasure. Take care.
There you go. That is Lance Wazowski joining us, beat reporter for the Buffalo Sabres. They're an entertaining team to watch, man. I got the NHL Center Ice package, and when the Sabres are on, I find myself watching. Thompson is worth the price of admission. Cousins is great. Rasmus Dahlin's really good. I thought Owen Power last year, the last 50 games of the year, oh my goodness. I was like, this guy's this young. Oh, he is going to be so good for the Buffalo. I won't be surprised, honestly, if in a few years people are talking about him being the best defenseman in Buffalo. Honestly, I think he's that good. Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan with you on Sports 1440 Live and Oilers Nation YouTube. When we return, we will pick up the pace. Teammates. There's certain kind of unwritten rules with your teammates you don't want to cross. Sometimes, though, it happens. We'll discuss it next.
There's two seasons in Alberta, winter and construction. During these days of traffic barricades and slower commutes, GS Construction reminds you those crews are improving our communities. They're rehabilitating and upgrading Edmonton's infrastructure all across the city. When you see the barricades and run into a traffic backup, remember the crews are there to help. Drive slow and be patient. Help make our city better and join the GS Construction team. See what they're hiring for on Indeed.com. GS Construction, laying the groundwork for your community since 1974.
A full-service provider of heavy haul transportation and rigging at the highest level. Next Gen Transportation.
We're developing new and innovative ways to transport oversized and overweight equipment to remote and challenging locations.
Our Next Gen team leads with a wealth of experience and expertise. But most importantly, we put safety first, so everyone gets home safely.
We also take great pride in supporting our local community programs and teams. Good luck to everyone this season and in the year ahead.
Visit nextgentransportation.com.
You know, I got into reffing for the excitement.
He's going for the chair.
Turns out wrestling is completely scripted. But you know what's exciting and unscripted? PlayAlberta.ca. With an all-new sportsbook, odds boosts, and betting on any game.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today with promo code SPORTS50 and get a $50 free bet. Official gaming partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Hey world, get ready to believe. At Oodle Noodle, we serve up world-class, worldwide flavors in our sweet, saucy, and fiery noodles. We believe in the power of nudes. We've got everything from saucy mac and cheese to sizzling pad thai to so many other unbelievable dishes sure to make you a noodle convert for life. You've got to taste them to believe it. Don't be a skeptic. The proof is in the noodles. Check us out at oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle. We believe in noodles.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Andy Akel at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
At Fountain Tire, save big during our Road Ready sales event until October 21st. Who wouldn't want up to 25% on select tires and a bonus of $50 off any service? A lizard, maybe? Or a ghost? Restrictions apply, financing available. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com.
There's nothing like having a little skin in the game to make things interesting. But when a little skin becomes more than you can afford to lose, it's time to take a break from sports betting. Set a budget and stick to it. If you gamble, use your game sense.
At Toyota, we believe your vehicle is more than just your ride. It's your trusty sidekick. So make sure it's ready to go, because there's a 100% chance of winter this winter. And you can take those odds to the bank, not the snowbank. Trust the experts at Toyota for premium winter tires, batteries, brakes, and more. Beat the winter rush and book an appointment today. Visit shoptoyota.ca or contact your local Toyota dealer.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Jaffa Machinery. Jaffa is digging deep on their 50-year history of supporting Alberta's construction industry with their line of special edition blackout excavators. Visit jaffamachinery.com for all the details.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.345 on a Thursday afternoon. Welcome back. Gregor Show. Sports 1440, Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan with you. Of course, today is the day that the Oilers will have their annual signing here at West Edmonton Mall, and they're spread out all over the mall. And so we just had 3 young kids who were outside the window, and the con man gave them a few treats, which is nice. Sports 1440 speaker, and then a rum butter chocolate bar. Jeez, scraping the bottom of the barrel out of that one, but either way, although I know some kids love it. So Ogden's there. He's been here since 8:30 in the morning. His mom let him skip school, mom and dad, and he's waiting in line because he really wants to talk to Evander Kane and Derek Ryan. And then he was giving us the update on the other places. You guys should go over here because there's not a lot of people in line for Matthias Ekholm, and there's not a lot of people in line for Darnell Nurse. There's lots of people right now in line for Connor McDavid. So if you're coming down to the mall, Ekholm and Nurse right now, not a lot of people in line for them. So there you go. Like the scouting report for the signatures from young Ogden. That was fun. Now, speaking of signatures, let's get to the racing report brought to you by Can Torque as they continue developing tools and are excited to announce their newest design, battery-powered nut runners. 4 models with 500 to 3,000 foot-pounds with more on the way. CanTorque.com. I have no idea if TR has ever ran a battery-powered nut runner or not, but Colin Livingston, of course, joins us in studio. And TR, you probably don't remember this as a young buck, but Colin remembers you from the 1995 draft.
Oh, hell yeah. And I'm sure he does remember me. He's just got to see me here on the YouTube, but just after TR was signed, I was there with my buddy Shay. Shay is also a principal, as we're talking about various principals with the kids in the hallway. But we went to the entry draft, and TR stood out because I was a big Habs fan. And we just happened to be sitting on the aisleway. We were one of the first signatures that he got to give after his name was called, because he was up in the grandstands and had to do the long walk onto the stage.
Now, did he? Because back in junior, every time he signed his name, he would have a different moniker. When you got drafted, TR, did you continue that, or were you just Terry Ryan?
That was a Tri-City thing. I think at that level, I felt ignorant if I was doing that. But what I used to do, Colin, in Tri-Cities, we did these signings all the time, and people came to expect it from me. But I would be like Terry the Tyrant, or Terry, Terry the Anaconda. Terry, it wouldn't matter. I went through every name, every monster, every animal, every emotion. It was always Terry something Ryan. So in Tri-City, they would be waiting. What's this going to be? Terry, I remember Flying Rabbi, and the boys love that one, the Flying Rabbi, so that's what we spray painted on the back of my car. And I drove it around for 2 years. Yeah, it was wild.
Well, I can tell you I got, that day I probably got 20 different autographs, and yours is the only one I remember getting. So take that for what it's worth.
Interesting. I'll take that as a compliment. I might even put it on the back of my next book.
I'll sign it for you.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Full circle.
I like it. Let's talk a little F1, Colin. There wasn't a lot of grip in Qatar during practice at all, but and I got to get to the big story of that race, of course, which is on the first lap. Early on, it's the teammates again, and Lewis Hamilton after the race said, "Hey, it's all my fault. It's on me."
Yeah.
But he takes out himself and also George Russell. Now, George Russell was able to come back and had a pretty solid finish overall from where he came, but what did you, because I watched that again and I'm like, man, Lewis looked like he was in a really good position. And it was almost like, did he brake too early? What happened?
Well, see, I see it very differently, because when people see this thing that Lewis does, they're going to flash back to last year at Spa. They're going to flash back to another race because last year at Spa, Lewis made a very similar move on Fernando Alonso. After they came out, Eau Rouge went down the back straightaway and got into the chicane where he got ahead of him, but not completely clear of him, and made contact. And Lewis had to accept that. This race was a little bit different. Lewis got a better start than George. George was pinned behind Verstappen, and as George started to get the draft, he started forcing Lewis over. Like, he made a dart move where Lewis had to respond. He did that twice, and you can watch the video. This isn't my personal opinion. This is a fact. So George had already kind of imposed on Lewis, and no one caught that on the race, and no one's talked about it afterwards. But when that happened, Lewis still had a run on the outside. He just simply misjudged. Like, he started the run, he saw how fast he was going by, but then George slightly left off the brakes. Not that George did anything wrong. George really didn't do anything wrong aside from kind of forcing his teammate wide. It was just a misjudgment that, it took Lewis out, and then, George was able to carry on. But I'll tell you what, it lit a fire under Russell's ass, because he was on fire the rest of the day. And that was, without question, one of the toughest races that they've ever had to run.
Yeah. No, well, it was interesting. You had guys dehydrated. Like, it was obviously very hot there. And you talked about, like, they had 4 races in really a very close proximity where the temperature is ridiculously hot. So is it necessary to be there?
Yes, it is. But do they need to be there at this time of year where it's that hot and that humid? There were at least 4 drivers that reported problems. So Logan Sargent had to retire from the race because he was going to pass out and he was so nauseous in the car. Drivers they're not sissies, and they're not soft. They're extraordinarily tough. Most drivers will drive through things that you can't possibly imagine because they don't want somebody to take their ride. It's not like stick and ball sports where you have a contract and you're protected that way. Like, they can pull you out of the car for any reason. F1's a little bit different because these guys have pretty big contracts, but Esteban Ocon was actually vomiting in the car. So he had that in his helmet, down his suit. Fernando Alonso was talking about how the heat from behind his seat was burning his back. He asked him if they could dump cold water on him when he did a pit stop, which they weren't allowed to do. It was just lots of drivers actually fainted once they got out of the car. 3 drivers had to be carried out of the car because they didn't have enough muscle strength. Like, this is where the FIA has to say, listen, safety has to be first and foremost. And obviously we can't put the drivers in this situation. So, Qatar's a decent enough track. They've obviously put the money in to repave the thing, but they've got to look at the time of the year to run this at the right time.
Yeah, 100%. So you got to get it at a position where you guys aren't sweating. I did have to chuckle, though, when Alonso's like, hey, is there anything you guys can do to make the heat cool down? And they're like, sorry, like, at least get a pitcher of water. And then the guy was joking on the broadcast, well, it might weigh down his car. I'm like, really? I don't think you have to put that much. I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. Maybe I'm wrong.
But by the rules, they weren't allowed to do that.
You can't
they weren't allowed to do that because there's a technicality about that's either changing the car performance. That's like a driver aid. That's you just
really.
Yeah. They mentioned that they looked into it. And then when they looked at alternatives, they could theoretically, there's not enough time anymore though. Like, these pit stops, McLaren did the fastest pit stop in history with this new set of rules at a 1.8 second stop. Most of the teams are running 2.3, 2.4. From the time you pull in, you're basically in gear. You've got to engage neutral. You've got to reset all your dials. They're done, and you're driving away. Like, you don't have time to unzip your suit. Like in NASCAR, they'll sometimes fit ice packs in. You don't have time to do any of that stuff.
Colin, why is Red Bull so down on Perez?
That's a great question. First of all, this is definitely opinion, but it's based fairly heavily in fact. Red Bull is made up of assholes, and I don't mind saying that. And I know there's a lot of Red Bull fans out there, but the management are really, really, really cold and really, really abrasive, especially when things start going sideways. And while Christian Horner tends to be the more political of the two of the leaders between him and Helmut Marko, Christian out and out said this week that, we have to sit down with him. We've got to get him back on his game. He's definitely not living up to our expectations. And then started talking about, like, there's other teams that have really good pairings, like Mercedes, like McLaren. We need to get back to that, and basically shouldering all the blame on Perez. The other guy there, Helmut Marko, he's been even worse. So
yeah, no, it was interesting. I got McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes. They've all got pairs. And now Checo was there early in the season, but then his own team kind of said, well, hey, you know what? He doesn't drive as consistent. And ever since then, it seems like he's almost trying to live up to that because he's been very erratic.
But the problem is that in theory, the two teammates have the same cars.
But now, it's not set up for his skills. Is that fair? Or his strengths, maybe, is the better
yes
word.
And no, but as Lando Norris even said the other day, like, listen, it's our job to drive the car the way they give it to us. We're paid as drivers. So while Max is able to extract everything and Max can destroy everyone, Checo's not getting out of Q2, and Checo is getting knocked out of the race. And but you also see that with Alfa Romeo right now, with Alonso having, moderately good finishes. Lance Stroll, who's obviously the owner's kid,
not even close.
He's getting killed, but he's getting pissed off too, because he's under investigation right now because he threw a grade A temper tantrum after qualifying and after the race, where if anyone watched the race, they interviewed him. They're like, hey, how does this make you feel? And what's going on? I just have to keep racing. He was asked 3 questions, and I used too many words. He gave 7-word answers to 3 total questions. So, you are always under pressure when your teammate's doing better, because the only difference is you. Unless you've got, unless there's an issue with your team or there's something different about your car that, nobody will actually talk about.
Now, F1 returns this weekend to North America, and Austin's Circuit of the Americas. Friday qualifying, Saturday's the sprint, and then, of course, Sunday is the race. Is this kind of par for the course? Are we expecting Red Bull to dominate?
I don't have any reason to think otherwise. The nice thing is going to be that all of the practices, qualifying, and race is going to be at daylight time for us. We don't have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. True. Or, nice. PVR or whatever. We can just watch kind of midday. So that'll be great. Yeah,
no, it should be good. And lastly, you're going over to the World Contest for rental cart with Tagland in Italy. Tell us about that.
Yeah, really, really excited. I still, competitively race. I still get in my DD2 here in town, and I compete in a number of events across North America. But when it comes down to it, compared to tag, I'm a schmuck. Well, I'm on this 4-man team, so made up of Alex Tagliani, and I think most people know who that is, multi-time world champion Pierre-Luc Ouellette, multi-race winner, an outstanding shifter driver, Jeff Petriello, and then, chunky boy from Stony Plain. So we're going to have a lot of fun over there. It's great because it's put on by our parent company, CRG. So they're organizing the whole thing. We represent CRG in Canada. Tag turns 50 on Wednesday. So we're going to turn this into a little 50th
birthday in Italy.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be doing Ice Baby like we did at somebody's birthday last year, but who knows, with enough Prosecco, I can get talked into anything.
Well, hey, never know. Never underestimate the excitement of a 50th. I'll tell you that right now. It can be,
I'm only 2 months away.
Well, there you go. And hey, maybe when you turn 50, TR will ask you for your autograph, and you guys can swap stories about
we'll get him at Eastbound Raceway when I go back to Newfoundland next year.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, I know exactly where you're talking about, and I love it. Of course, shoot me a note.
And everyone knows Mike James, so you can always get to me through Mike.
Copy that. I'll see you soon.
TR, have you ever raced a car? You ever been on a track?
No, I went to Daytona when I played in Orlando.
Okay,
I haven't ever been in a race car. No.
Oh, okay. Well, hey,
and out here, of course, there's a track. What Colin just mentioned is probably like a half hour outside of town, and it has some actually pretty interesting races out there, and it's concerts. It's become something of a draw many times a year, so I know exactly where he's talking about.
Awesome. Colin, have a good trip to Italy, my man.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, boys.
That's a racing report brought to you by Can Torque. Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan with you. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. And guess what? Right now, the Road Ready sales event is on. You can save up to 25% off select tires and a bonus of $50 off any service until October 21st. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com. Some restrictions apply.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
The Edmonton Oilers announced that Danny Ryland-Kearney has been added to their hockey operations department as a regional scout. Danny played for Northeastern University before founding and serving as commissioner of the National Women's Hockey League. The Oilers back in action on Saturday, rematch against the Canucks. Puck drop just after 8 o'clock. Elsewhere around the NHL, the Sabres in New York to take on the Rangers. Flyers in Columbus. Devils hosting the Red Wings. Kraken take on the Preds. Stars up against the Blues. The Panthers travel to Minnesota, and the Sharks hosting the Vegas Golden Knights. Week 6 in the NFL kicks off as the Broncos head to Arrowhead to take on the Chiefs. Kickoff set for 6:15. You can watch this one with Brandon Douglas down at the Windermere Canadian Brewhouse with a chance to qualify for a trip for two to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. One game in the majors tonight. The Phillies looking to wrap up their series against Atlanta. That one gets going at 6. Philly up 2-1. And in the AJ, we've got 2 games this evening as GP taking on Canmore, and Fort Mac will be in Calgary, both 7 o'clock starts. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll hear another edition of Ryan's Rant and Ask 5 Questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
What's cracking at Cattail Crossing Golf and Winter Club? Kick off your week with unbeatable savings. Enjoy half-price golf from Monday to Thursday. Elevate your game without emptying your wallet. Book your tee time today. cattailcrossing.ca.
Since 1987, Ram Elevators and Lifts has been raising the bar and more by manufacturing superior elevators for both residential and low-rise commercial buildings. What drives them? A vision of accessibility, because they know that an elevator or lift is more than just a mechanical device. It's the freedom to go where you want. Ram's North American-made elevators, starting as low as $32,900, are rated as the best residential elevators by Forbes magazine. Grounded simplicity, elevated design. Click on trustram.com.
Hey everyone, it's Kelly here from United Sport and Cycle. United's annual Hockey Days sale is on now. Save up to 20% off on skates, 25% off on equipment, and 35% off on all Pro Stock sticks. United Sport and Cycle, your home of hockey for over 95 years.
This is Kevin Carius. Saturday night, join me at Century Casino for the first home game of the season, Edmonton against Vancouver.
It's the Sports 1440 watch party with Kevin Carius. Saturday night at 8 at Century Casino, Fort Road.
Mr. Rooter meets a zombie.
Ooh, what a spooky old place. Hello? Could someone call a plumber? Rain! It's hideous! Stay back, monster!
I was saying drains. Yeah, I have clogged drains.
Oh, of course. Ha, I can fix those. And may I say how nice your tattered clothes look?
Never undead, always unclogged. Trust Mr. Rooter.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com. The Alberta Snowmobile Show is back this Friday and Saturday at the Edmonton Expo Center. Enter to win the Stoked Mountain Adventures Mystery Sled Build and see this beast debut at the show. Tickets at showpass.com or at the gate.
There's nothing like having a little skin in the game to make things interesting. But when a little skin becomes more than you can afford to lose, it's time to take a break from sports betting. Set a budget and stick to it. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Denim Ford's roots run deep in the history of Central Alberta. Like always, you can experience the same honest pricing and honest service that you've come to expect from all of us at Denim Ford for the past 65 years. Denim Ford is proud to be Canada's only 50-time President award-winning dealership in customer satisfaction, treating every customer like family. Visit Denim Ford on the world-famous Wetaskiwin Auto Mile or from home at denimford.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We've continued developing tools and are excited to announce our newest design, battery-powered nut runners, 4 models from 500 to 3,000 foot-pounds. With more on the way, learn more at cantork.com.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
See the boys in the club. They watching us. They watching us. They watching us. Everybody in the club. All eyes on us. All eyes on us. All eyes on us. I wanna scream and shout and let it all out. And scream and shout and let it out. We saying oh, we oh, we oh, we oh. We saying oh, we oh, we oh, we oh. I wanna scream and shout and let it all out. And scream and shout and let it out. We saying oh, we oh, we oh, we oh.
You are now rocking with Will I Am in
Britney. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Bring the action.
Rock and roll. Everybody, let's lose control.
It's after 4 o'clock. Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show. Thursday edition, October 12th, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where you can get in the game. They have the odds boosts. Remember, though, if you play, use your game sense. Go to gamesense.ab.ca. I'm Jason Gregor. Terry Ryan is with us, and it is time for Ryan's Rant, brought to you by Action Electrical. And it is time for you to take action. If you've been thinking about it, you want to get some solar on your resident at home or even your business, you can do both. But if you want it at home, there is a grant for $5,600 they can help you get through the federal government and a 10-year interest-free loan. Learn more at actionelectrical.net. Here is Ryan's Rant.
Thank you, Jason. Well, I'll tell you this. There was a few things I was going to talk about over the last few weeks, and I write them down like jot notes. I mean, I got to come up with a lot of Ryan's rants, right? And there's only so many things to rant about. So I had one all queued up, but last night as I was watching the hockey games, felt frustrated. And I felt frustrated for a while when it comes to hockey in particular. I mean, you want to do everything you can as a sport, as a league, to promote the game, to make everybody have a good time, to have fun. You want the fan and the players to have the best experience possible. The game's been around for a long time. And when the game started, in most places, there was no electricity. And we evolved and we evolved. And eventually, we had electronic scoreboards. They turned into jumbotrons. The entertainment, obviously, look at Vegas. Some teams have cheerleaders. There's rocket ships going off before the game. Entertainment has become a big, big, big part of the experience of going to an NHL game. And I think it has to in each sport, as I've heard you touch on before. It's about the fan's experience. So any sport, I think, that's stuck just playing the sport is really behind, because there's all kinds of ways to experience a game and make it more of a interactive experience. I just got back from Buffalo, even right down to the food that's served, right? I mean, it used to be just hot dogs and popcorn. Now you can get everything from sushi to spaghetti, whatever, at most sporting venues in North America. So having said that, and how far we've evolved, not only as just hockey, as other sports, as a sporting culture, as athletes, as performers, as fans. So you tell me why, in this day and age, teams are using one goal song and they're not using one that each player likes. Like baseball, when you walk up to the plate, different players have different approach songs. A lot of sports aren't in the unique position to do it. You don't have music played after you get a point in tennis. But I mean, down the list. And NBA, there's just baskets every 2 seconds, and it's different music, and you can play music while the game is played, and the NFL is totally different again. But I just don't understand it. Why in hockey, let's just use the Leafs as an example. Like people, all this, get up today, and you can't, every angle, they finally changed their song. I mean, I love that Hall & Oates song. It was monotonous to hear it every single time, and I came to hate it. And I know there's some teams that do it, but any team that doesn't play a goal song for the individual rather than the team, I think is so far behind. And I don't know, the players want it. I mean, we do it for our hockey school kids in the summertime. I remember in Tri-Cities, not every player, but if we suggested it, the DJ would let us do it. There was a bunch of songs that we picked specifically. I picked Bad to the Bone. People used to call me T-Bone there. It's easy enough, right? Easy enough. And here we are in 2023 with more playlists and the methods it's in everybody's phone. Each fan could do a better job. Now, I don't know if these DJs are being pig-headed or the teams are. My music's better than yours. I really don't know. But barring, I get it not to use Dust in the Wind or everything I do it for you. There are songs, obviously, that I'd say you're nuts. Maybe it has to pass some kind of a venting process. But I do not understand why, in this day and age, we watch a hockey game and have to hear the same song as many goals are scored. It just doesn't make sense to me.
TR, you're preaching to the choir, my man. For over a decade, I have talked about this before any NHL team did it. And I was like, baseball's done this for years. The best is when the baseball players, when a guy would get up to bat and they would prank him because they would play some song that he didn't want. And you would see the whole dugout roaring and the guy would be like, are you kidding me right now? It's hilarious. And so maybe you do that. But either way, like the Buffalo Sabres, they released theirs today, right? And they put it out there, every song for every player. Now, some of those guys might, like defensemen, they might not score a home goal all year long. So that sucks for them, but it's a way to connect to your fans. People are loving it. It shows what songs some guys like, what songs they don't like, and it's different for everyone. I agree with you wholeheartedly. It's so ridiculously archaic. It's such a simple fix that adds a small little enjoyment, and fans are like, oh my goodness, Connor McDavid likes that song. I like that song. Now we're connected, right? It's as simple as that. And so I don't get it, right? I don't get it at all. Like in Toronto, they're like, ooh, what's their new goal song? Their goal song sucks. And it's one song, right? Like, give me a break. Like, it's brutal. So I don't get it. I have been talking about this for a decade in Edmonton. And I went through the Oilers room. I interviewed every player multiple different times in different years, asked them, what song would you want? And the guy's like, this is unreal. Now, there was the odd players like, I don't care. And that's fine. But the vast majority were like, well, why don't we do that? And then when I tell them other teams are doing it, they're like, what? And so they started hearing it. So eventually it's probably going to be up to the players to go and say, hey, see what Buffalo's doing? We want to do this. That's what it's going to take.
I saw a game in Washington a few years ago. TJ Oshie scored, and it was "Take Me Home, Country Roads." And because you could never play that every single goal, that would get old. But each player, I mean, even if you get 50 or 60, you're still scoring a small fraction of the overall. So it's always going to be fairly new. Or if someone gets a hat trick, I'll hear it 3 times tonight. Why not? It's almost like a challenge. But that was I've never seen a base in a regular season game in November be so jazzed up by a song that I would never have thought. And then I realized, I'm like, oh, they're doing the individual songs down here and they get behind it. It was great. And I'm like, someone has to see this. Other DJs must know the difference. There's teams out there that are sitting there going, they're in a room. What should we make the song? Like a song, a silly song. Well, we had Hall & Oates for the last 8 years. Now what do we, in Toronto? And I'm like, does anybody bring it up? Does anybody bring it up? And when you ask the players, they all want it. Like you said, they either want it or they're impartial, but none of them are like, no way, we want one, So I just don't understand why we aren't making the change.
Yeah. Well, hey, the Oil Kings do it, right? And players like it. The fans like it. It's easy to do, so I know you can't do it. And this is probably my favorite text. Geez, Greg, all this long, I thought all the Oiler players just love Cotton Eye Joe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's the worst song ever. But I like the humor. I like the humor in a TR because it's like sports is supposed to be fun. This is an easy way to inject a little fun into it. And I love your idea about a hat trick. And all of a sudden, because the fans would know, the great part about it is the team posts it. Now the fans all save it, right? They take a picture, they have it on their phone. So-and-so scores, because they'll remember some guys. And then all of a sudden, it's like the number 6 defenseman, Vinny Desharnais. And he scores his only goal of the season in game 37 on home ice. And people are like, oh, yeah, we got Vinny's song, right? Like, it's such an easy thing to get people excited for.
And lastly, I don't mean to wear out my welcome with this rant, but you could connect to, it's interactive. Like you said, you're connecting with the fans, but you could go a step further. I remember, I used to play, there's a guy, Michel Pagliaro. He's from Montreal. He's got some great songs, and my favorite song is Some Sing, Some Dance. And Ron McLean played it for me, one of the intros on Hockey Night in Canada. You can get it out there now. You can see on YouTube that they took a clip of it, and it's still there for all the world to see still. And I love that. And I remember saying, if they ever gave us that chance, like they did in junior, I'd like to. What I'm saying is that he's from Montreal, of course.
Yeah.
I didn't get, so I didn't get to use it that much, obviously. But I'm saying that if whatever town you're from or city in North America, you could probably find one from your own hometown or from the city that you're in. If I'm in Vancouver, I don't know, Bryan Adams, Summer 16. I'm just spitballing here, but it's there's levels to the connection, and that would be contagious, I think, in 32 cities and by extension hometowns, and people waiting to see what that and artists waiting to there's only so many ways now for artists to even get their songs out there and be paid. So it would also give a little bit of recognition to some local artists. I don't see anybody losing in that situation other than the DJ's ego.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't see why the DJ wouldn't like it. Like, crowd goes nuts. Who cares? And because the DJ, like, once they pick the goal song, he plays the same goal song. The DJ is probably like, oh, God, it's the same thing every time. If anything, maybe they'd be better. But yeah, I'd love to see it. There are a few teams. Florida's doing it. Buffalo's doing it. I think Arizona. And there's a few more. I got to go down the list, but I know there's a few more teams doing it, and I think it'll grow. And I'll tell you this, I won't be surprised if some of the Canadian teams, I don't know, there's just something at times, and I love our country. There's lots of great things about our country, but when it comes to sports and it comes to hockey, we're a little bit of fun sponge sometimes as a nation, and I think we need to loosen up a little bit. It's sports. It's
Dylan said the times they are changing.
Yeah. Oh, very deep, TR. Very deep.
And guys, just a kind of a different twist on this one. The Sabres put out the list of everyone's goal song. It's like a playlist you could get. And people loved that. The conversation they're generating on social media, outstanding. They've got 1,500 retweets, big conversations going, shows a little personality. So it's cool for the inexperienced, but it's also cool, for social media people getting on the chat.
Oh, well, any way that fans, they care about their team. Give them the smallest iota of a nugget that allows them to connect on whatever reason it is. They become more connected to their team. They become more loyal to their team. They buy tickets. They buy hats. They buy jerseys. That's what they do. And you're making them feel and giving them the smallest little sliver of inside the room. And that's all the fans want. Just a little bit. Just give them a sliver. They like it. So 419. Gregor TRTR, that's your best rant so far. I love it. Almost as good as the captain one. That one was pretty good too. I like it. Gregor and TR with you on Sports 1440, Edmonton's Sports Authority.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's Sports20.
Everyone loves a comeback. Hi, I'm Colin from Cantork. The flame of Edmonton sports fever burns bright. Cantork proudly continues our partnership with Jason Gregor, excited to re-enter the arena of sports radio on Sports 1440.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
There's 2 seasons in Alberta, winter and construction. During these days of traffic barricades and slower commutes, GS Construction reminds you those crews are improving our communities. They're rehabilitating and upgrading Edmonton's infrastructure all across the city. When you see the barricades and run into a traffic backup, remember, the crews are there to help. Drive slow and be patient. Help make our city better and join the GS Construction team. See what they're hiring for on Indeed.com. GS Construction, laying the groundwork for your community since 1974.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
What you eating there?
Oh, just a Leon's $10,000 shopping spree in a Chevy Colorado.
How do you plan to get all that from a Big Mac?
Monopoly Double Play.
Monopoly Double Play?
First, I peel on pack, then I peel an app. 2 ways to play and win.
So basically, you're potentially holding the most lucrative Big Mac ever?
No, I'm potentially eating the most lucrative Big Mac ever.
Now you can double play at McDonald's for more ways to win millions of prizes. While supplies last, chances of winning change as prizes are claimed. Chances of winning McD's app prizes based on time of code entry. See rules at participating McDonald's in Canada or at mcdpromotion.ca.
Your co-op grow team are your local experts because we live here too. Our agronomic specialists stay up to date with the latest research and technology to help support your entire farm operation. Talk to our team for advice tailored to your farm's needs. We have recommendations to help you optimize your crop yield and quality while enhancing the health of your land. Co-op, we're all growing together. Here for your farm, here for your family. Learn more at coop.crs/farm.
At jackpotcity.net, you can do amazing things with just one. Including the world-renowned progressive jackpot slot, Mega Moolah. Play for free at jackpotcity.net and get treated as a VIP 24/7. So visit jackpotcity.net today on your tablet, laptop, or mobile. Jackpot City, a whole world of casino games. 18 plus. Please play responsibly. This is not a gambling website.
1, 2, 3.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. There's something going on every day at OTR. On Monday, Bingo Tunes, Taco Tuesday, karaoke on Wednesday, tonight, Salsa Night, and live music every weekend on the OTR stage with DJ Kenny K. On the Rocks, Jasper Ave, and 118.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
I need somebody to help me say it one time.
Ooh, not bad. I like it. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Terry Ryan with you on Sports 1440. Come to you live on Oilers Nation YouTube. As we continue on the show, we got A lot of text.
A lot of text.
33401-1440. Hey guys, I love the Sabres idea. Curious, what would be your goal song from Old Man River? Well, I'll tell you right now what song I would go with off the top. It would be by Tiesto, and it would be "Wow." And I'll just play it. Now, I always said, and to me, if I was the Oilers and I was a teammate, this is the song I would pick for McDavid because it explains very perfectly. I think it describes what McDavid does on the ice. There. Oh, because it's true. With McDavid, you've seen it. All of a sudden, it's like a shot out of a cannon. Shot out of a cannon. That's a sick song, man. Sick song. So there we go. We'll get Terry Ryan back in a second. He's having a little technical difficulties, so I'll reconnect with him. Ouch. Hey, Gregor, knowing the Oilers, they charge fans to access the playlist. God forbid they do anything for the fans for free. Cough, cough, Oilers Plus, Jodes. Yeah, well, here's the thing. You don't have to pay for it, but it costs money to produce all the stuff, right? That's just how it goes. So I don't know where I come out on that. If you know, like if you're a real fan and you want a diehard fan, you want to get that information, then you'll pay whatever. I don't even know what the cost. What is it, like $30? I don't even know what it is, to be honest. So, but I understand there is a cost to produce all that stuff, right? Like all those features and behind the scenes stuff. So, I get it. There are, hey, to me, if I want to complain, it's when they have the fan appreciation game last year. And fan appreciation was you walk in and you got a little pamphlet or whatever it's called, and it had one free popcorn. And it was like the smallest bag of popcorn. That's it. I'm like, are you serious? I was stunned by that. I'm like, come on. Brutal.
To be fair, though, Gregor, that's what, like a $25 value?
No, because it wasn't the bag they normally do it in.
Oh, jeez.
That was my point. Right? And it's not as well. Yeah, I know.
Popcorn's expensive there, I think.
It is pretty expensive there, no question. So I would guess the markup on the popcorn is pretty high. Gregor, what's the name of that song you just played? Rice. It's "Wow" by Tiesto. And it is a sick song. Sick song. Hey, Gregors, I love TR's rant. Let the Oilers players pick their goal song. Well, exactly. Just do it. It'll be a lot of fun. Hey, guys, I don't care about the goal song. I more care about the fact that this team can't get it done when it matters most. Good teams don't have lethargic efforts like that. Well, good teams do get it done when it matters most, which is the playoffs. I would agree. I would disagree with the statement that good teams don't have lethargic efforts like that, because they're when the Chicago Blackhawks were winning Stanley Cups. Remember the one game they came into Edmonton and the Oilers spanked the Blackhawks of all teams 9-2? The Blackhawks. What about the Oilers in 1983-84 in February? Halfway, they'd been to the Stanley Cup final the year before and lost. They're one of the top teams in the league. They go into Hartford and lose 11-0. Worst loss in franchise history. One of the worst losses in NHL history. A few months later, they win the Stanley Cup. So you can have one bad night. And I understand that it's the first game of the season. And it's like, honestly, it's probably the worst game to soil the sheets like this. And I think that, like, I understand the frustration. The Oilers sucked last night, but I don't think the Oilers suck, if that makes any sense. They were brutal last night. They're not brutal every night. Since Jay Woodcroft came, they have the second most wins in the NHL. That'll be their worst loss of the season. Mark it down. They're not losing by 7 goals in another game this season. They've played 3,400 NHL games as a franchise. They have lost by 7 goals 15 times out of 3,400. You saw something last night, if you gutted through all of it, and kudos to you if you did, that many fans have never seen. Been a long time since they had a butt kicking like that. You got to go back to 1997 against the Detroit Red Wings. The last time they got spanked that bad. So it happens. You don't love it. That's in the regular season. Right? So it's no fun. I totally understand it. But it's it's one game. And TR, we talked about that. You got to move along. Like, I don't think that's a game where the coach yells and screams, because you only have so many opportunities as a coach to read the riot act over a season. That's probably not one where the coach does it. I'm guessing it might be one where a few of the players speak up.
Yeah, and like I said, they have good leadership, right? I mean, if anything is evident from the Oilers, I believe that, and I believe they come back strong. And I also believe that most winning teams in North America sports in any kind of lengthy schedule get their butts kicked at some point. It's just more magnified when it's game one.
Yes. 100%.
If it's me, I'm coaching, or I'm the players, I'm not going too far with this one. If it continues, obviously, but you need to turn that page and lock it in a box and put it on its way and never visit it again.
Now, your thoughts? Hey, your boy Mr. Newhook got a few Genos last night. Lost, but still, a good start for him. And I think last night's game for Montreal. Well, first of all, they can't slow down Gregor. That's just not going to happen. But I'm kidding.
I like that. Yeah.
But in all seriousness, I think last night's kind of a microcosm of their season. They're going to be able to score some goals, but they're going to have a real hard time defending. Like, their blue line, man, it is young, and I think they're going to have some struggles during the season.
It's funny when it was 3-0 and nobody thought it was over. And I don't mean that as much of a slap in the face, as they are young. And hey, every win they get's bonus. Every point they get's bonus. This is a year much like Chicago, growing their young players. A little bit ahead of Chicago, I think. But Newhook, yes, I knew this. Look, the guy, Newhook, grew up. He was, with my own 2 eyes, the best minor hockey player that I've seen in a long, long time. This guy was so dominant. He left early, as did I. I identify with him in a lot of ways. We shoot left, forwards left early, went in the first round. I say to people, he went in that first round, and I saw that coming when he was 12. I think anybody around here, anybody where he went from out in BCJ, played in Victoria, went to Boston College from there. Even before that, it's no surprise, but it's funny. When Montreal traded for him, I heard a lot of people saying, well, I'm not really sure about that. I know he won, but he was down in the depth chart. This guy was a first-round pick. Colorado picked him to play more than they were playing them. They're just ultimately deep, made some decisions. The one thing leads to another, and he becomes trade bait. But I don't think they were ever really down on him. And his work ethic in the summer is second to none. There might be a lot of people that work as hard. I don't know many people that work harder, man. He's a diehard, and he loves the game, and he's always trying to improve from angles. He'll sit there after he works out. He'll go out on the ice and just go angles off the boards, like real different stuff. Like, he wants to perfect each level of his game. He wants to maximize every bit of his potential. So I knew going to a team that's going to play him way more, and I'm not a little bit more, way more. And his job is way more important, and he's way more of a leader. And now he has that Stanley Cup, to share with the quote unquote young guys here. This guy's 22, but so I'm not surprised. I said it. I think it's low saying Newhook's going to get 20. I said that it was like a hot take. I think he's going to get 20. I think he could get 30. And I'm not just saying it because of that first game. I'm saying it because I have a little bit of knowledge about Alex Newhook. And other than, not playing a lot the last couple of years, he's been a prodigy from day one, and he continues to be a leader.
I will give you credit. You called it at the start of the season. So anybody in your fantasy league, if you didn't listen to TR, you should have, because he was very high in Newhook and kind of went in depth as to why he thinks he's going to be a guy with a little bit more opportunity. And, Terry, you played lots. And a big thing that, when we talk about young players coming in, a lot of it is, if you don't have a coach who gives you a role, and I don't even care what the role is. If you know your role is to be a bottom 6 guy and a penalty killer, and the coach outlines this is going to be your role, you take pride in it, guess what? I'm going to play my 12, 13, 14 minutes, whatever the game relies on. I'm going to kill penalties. And guess what? I don't have to, if I score, obviously they want me to produce 5-on-5, but that's not going to be the biggest thing for me. And you can wrap your head around it. I think too often the mistake that is made for a lot of coaches is they don't stick to a defined role for some young players in the league.
Totally. Like, that is so well said. I agree. And as a player, you often know early on, God, the best example I can think of, just someone that I had my eyes on my whole life, one of my friends, and we went away together, is Danny Cleary. Danny's like Newhook, though. Like, I think Danny went 13th. He was rated number 1. He had some troubles in junior that pushed him back, but he was big. He was a scorer. He was a pure scorer. That's what Danny Cleary was in junior. He was at World Junior Camp at 16, first round pick. But, it took till Detroit. I might have mentioned this before. I get mixed up on my podcast. Sorry if I'm beating a dead horse here. But, any Oilers fans would remember him being there. He didn't really have a role. You were kind of waiting for him to break out, and he didn't even really look comfortable with Chicago, Phoenix, or Edmonton. And he went to Detroit and just took on this, I remember him fighting Pronger, and he's not a fighter, but he just took on that third line role. I'm going to be the best I can possibly be at this. I'm going to dedicate my life, my hockey playing life, to being a two-way player. And most players that are that skilled can pull it back and focus and be a role player. Not every role player can move up. That's why I often said Aaron Asham was so important, because he was a great role player, but all of a sudden when Gagne or somebody got hurt, he could go up and played on a lot of teams. He could go up and play on one of the top lines. If you'll notice, Aaron Asham never made it out of that division. Every team he played on was Eastern, because I think they all saw him on a night-to-night basis. And when you see somebody, it's, I think you get a much better idea of who they are as a player.
Better appreciation, for sure. A few quick texts coming in. TR, I'm curious. I'm sure you've been on teams that lost poorly, even early in the season. What do you look for then as a bounce back game? What are things as a normal fan I should be wanting to see on Saturday?
Well, I mentioned the hard work and obviously attention to detail, and you really want to not slip up here. So you don't come in a little bit late, not even a minute late. You try to go through, and there is eyes on it. Like I said, no one's snapping yet, but there's more eyes on you. Another thing, one thing I wouldn't do, okay, and I'll say Draisaitl is famous for this, at least in my eyes. I've never talked to anybody about it, but I can read body language. And it seems sometimes he's like tripping over his bottom lip. He slams his stick and and it's like, and then he slams it against the gate or struts the gate where you can see his mouth going. I don't think he's a bad teammate. I don't think he's a cancer. I'm not going that far. But I just think now he's elite. Now he's one of the biggest leaders in the world. He's one of the best hockey players on the planet, like way up there. We're talking way up on the Mount Rushmore. I don't know that as a leader you can give so much negative body language, and he is growing out of it. I saw it a couple times last night. I don't love it. And if I was anybody from the most respected, experienced veteran to a rookie playing my second game, I think I'd mind my P's and Q's and just be ready, eat right, show up, speak when spoken to. The focus is the game, get out there and get the win. And then everything's forgotten, especially if you go on a little bit of a run now, right? Like everybody can breathe a little bit deeper, but I would focus, and I was a guy that kept the bus and the room loose more than anything. Other people would come in and kind of be authoritarian, and you need that mix. But let's just say in a game like today, I would have a muzzle on. It wouldn't be to try to get everybody loose. It would be okay boys.
So it'd be a little bit no, and I think it's important to have a loose attitude sometimes. But maybe read the room is what you're suggesting.
You got it. Read the room. Yeah.
Read the room. Maybe not today. I would think the Oilers are going to come out, and the good news is they can't play any worse. They've been a good team for a long time, but I understand the concern where the one area the Oilers wanted to improve, Terry, was they wanted to limit goals against, and they get absolutely obliterated in goals against in game one. Their penalty kill gives up 3. Their 5-on-5 gives up 5, which is terrible. And they gave up too many soft goals, where you talked about it, just losing battles, and that has kind of been their calling card. So I get the frustration from fans, because part of them is like, oh God, here we go again. And I know it's only one game, but they need to, if that happens once in 40 games, no problem. But that's like a reoccurring issue for this team, especially early in seasons.
Yeah, and the good part is that it's a recurring issue that you can improve. Like,
Yes.
it's almost like a switch that you can turn to improve that stuff. So on one end, I want to use alarming, but it's concerning that it keeps happening. But I just keep going back to all those players, and I'm seeing them at their best. Even a guy like Bouchard, I hate to be down on him, but he really didn't. I mean, he wasn't. Either he's hurt or the guy just wasn't giving it his all. But now I'm big on him. I'm not the type, or I wouldn't be the type of coach to just like give up or like trade right away, or I don't think anybody should be put in a box and labeled because of one game. I find that player, Bouchard, just for example, is he's easily influenced. Depends who he's playing with. But what I saw in the last part of last year when Ekholm came in was one of the best young defensemen I've ever seen come up. Like, I was so down on him at the beginning of the year, and at the end of the year, I was so high on him. I'm like, oh, this guy just needs a little bit of time, but he's got to bring his focus. It's not even always effort, it's focus. It's silly decisions. You can be as physically ready as you want, but if you're not locked in mentally, and it just seems like that, because these are plays down low that, again, that an Adam would be embarrassed about making. That final goal, I hate saying it, Miller, that wasn't just positional. That was just the guys right next to me in front of an open net, and I got to work hard.
Yeah. Terry Ryan alongside Jason Gregor. Lots of text flying in our Jiffy Lube inbox, 833-401-1440. Oh, by the way, if you're coming to West Edmonton Mall today for the autograph session, stop in, come say hi at Sports 1440. We are, of course, just by entrance 55, right below the theaters. Bubblegum Shrimp is right next door for those of you that are wondering exactly where it is. And up on the second floor, come in. We got a few prizes, and maybe in the last hour, a few lucky people will get some of the brand new Sports 1440 hats. So come by, tap nicely on the glass, and you could get a prize. We'll come back with 5 questions and more on the Jason Gregor Show live, Sports 1440 and Orders Nation YouTube.
How exciting is it to have Sports Talk Radio back in Edmonton?
Tie game, bottom of the ninth with a full count. The kick, the pitch. It's high. It's far. It is gone. Walk-off home run.
Yeah, it's pretty much like that. Edmonton Kubota is excited to welcome back Sports Talk Radio, Sports 1440. We'll be dialed in for every minute. Get it done, and then some at Edmonton Kubota. All compact BX tractors on sale with 0% financing for 84 months. Stop by on 128th Ave or visit edmontonkubota.com.
Come into Jiffy Lube for a Pennzoil Platinum full synthetic oil change and receive a $20 digital gift card to one of over 30 merchants, such as Cineplex or Bass Pro Shops. For a location near you, visit jiffylubeservice.ca. Jiffy Lube, keeping you moving.
No project too difficult. No problem too complex for Action Electrical. Edmonton's leading electrical contractor is a family-run business since 1973 and proud to offer complete commercial electrical services of the highest quality. When you need a contractor to design, build, implement, and maintain complex systems or emergency electrical assistance, help is here with the professionals. Book a service call at actionelectrical.net today. That's actionelectrical.net.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Vincent Pearson at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
Weekends were made for Oil Kings hockey at Rogers Place. Family fun is second to none, starting at just $20 a seat.
This Family Fun Sunday, your Edmonton Oil Kings face off with their rivals from down the road, the Red Deer Rebels in Ice District.
There will be face painting, a kids' fun zone before the game, and more.
And every home game, score all new kids' food combos for $10 or less. The value is king size.
Edmonton Oil Kings, Red Deer Rebels, Sunday afternoon at 4.
Great family entertainment at Rogers Place starts at just $20 a seat. Save on day of game pricing now at oilkings.ca.
Rodeo clowning felt like an exciting opportunity. Boy, was I ever wrong. The bulls. So predictable. But you know what's exciting and unpredictable? PlayAlberta.ca. I can bet on any sports game, play online casino games anytime, and buy lottery tickets anywhere.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today and get over $100 in welcome bonuses. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
When you're a snowbird and take to warmer climates this winter, you want to make sure you have full coverage. That means home insurance when you're at home and travel insurance for when you try wave jumping on your jet skis. The James Insurance Group gives you peace of mind in your policy, so you're always covered. Working for Albertans across the province, the James Insurance Group will find you the best value and coverage you need. Find us at tjig.ca. That's tjig.ca.
Drive into fall with some sweet savings at Cross Mitsubishi. Right now, get the best rate in the country, 1.99% on select Mitsubishis. And to make things even better, get up to $1,800 in free accessories or no payments for 6 months, and Cross will take care of your first 3 payments. Plus, get a trade-in bonus for $2,000 and free winter tires on all new Mitsubishis. Find these great deals and so many more at Cross Mitsubishi, 34th Avenue and 96th Street, or cross with a K, Mitsubishi.ca.
When Ottawa's proposed electricity regulations make electricity unreliable, the things you rely on won't work when needed. Your hot water, computer, washer and dryer, electric car, TV, lights, mobile phone, stove, your heat in -30. Visit tellthefeds.ca to learn why Canada's power grid will be unreliable. And tell the feds, reliable and affordable electricity matters. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Ready, dude? It's only a 200-foot drop. You'll be fine. Off you go.
This is so fun!
You don't have to go to great heights to have a good time. Feel the fun at playojo.net online casino, with stacks of exciting slots and table games added every single week. Get that Ojo feeling at playojo.net today.
Open to all players 18 years and older. This is not a gambling site. Please play responsibly.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, the clear choice for all your auto, residential, and commercial glass. Call 310-GLASS or book now at crystalglass.ca.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Mama, please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. Friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. Give you one more night to get this.
4:47. This is a great tune, too. You just play this one. Let's get down to business right after the goal. Whoa. You're thinking of a goal song. You'd want one that the crowd can get after. It's got to have a real short, catchy kind of tune. TR, right now, today, if all of a sudden TR is in the league, you're 25, you want a song that the crowd, they're like, oh, yeah, that gets us fired up? Because you only have a short segment of the song that you're going to get to play. I know you're a music guy. Do you have a song?
Just on a couple of minor league teams I was on, and I still like it. And you're not going to believe what it is. First of all, Connor, whatever led us into the last segment, Ryan's Rant, I like that tune. I'm not sure what it is. So can you note that for me and send it to me? But you know what I would use, Jason?
Yeah.
I would use Moving On Up, the Jeffersons theme song. Moving on up the stat chart. We're moving on up as a team if we get another goal. And the crowd really gets into it. It's one of those that immediately everybody is kind of into, even though it's dated, but it is. There's a ring of charm to it, and it gets everybody into it.
Oh, I get it, man. That'd be great. Totally makes sense. Let's get to 5 questions now, brought to you by The Brick. Right now, stop in at The Brick as the madness continues. It is your last day to get in, up to 25% off fireplaces, dining, bedroom, and home entertainment furniture right now at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
TR, that song was Scream and Shout by Will.i.am and Britney Spears. So I can still text that to you so you can grab it. Question number 1 today. Tough result from the Oilers game last night. So, of course, we saw a lot of hot takes on social media. But when you look at their effort in the game, were there any concerns of things that could possibly linger on?
Go ahead, Jason.
Well, the one, because it's been a lingering problem for years, is too many goals against. 5-on-5. That has been the Oilers' weakness for 5 years. Well, actually, basically since 2017, because 2017 they were 8th. But other than that, they have been bottom half of the league in 5-on-5 goals against. So that would be the one that has a tendency to linger because it has lingered for 5 years.
What was the exact wording of that question, Connor?
Bad things you saw in the game that could linger on.
That could linger on. I hope it doesn't. And I know there's a lot of questions in net. I have confidence, but that definitely is a question after watching that. And that killer instinct, if you come not ready to play, there's something that if that lingers, then, you lose game whatever of the playoffs. So I guess they're mild concerns. They're pine on the patio type concerns, as they say on Overdrive. But I still would be a little bit concerned because 8 goals is 8 goals. It's a one-off, but whatever.
Question number 2. On the flip side, any positives you take out of that game? Might be tough to find some.
For me, yeah, it's over. That's about it.
Oh, it's a good one. Yeah, I will say I thought the McLeod line was okay. That would be the one. If I have to find a positive, that'd be it. But that's funny, Terry. It's over. It's true.
Question number 3. Confirmed Ross Atkins will be back as the general manager of the Jays next season. Realistically, was there any chance he wasn't going to return, you think?
Well, I want to get to this, and I'm sure Terry has thought. So Shapiro comes out today, and he's talking about it, and he says that he knew in advance what the plan was. So he knows what this plan was. He didn't know when it was going to get implemented, but he knew the plan. Meanwhile, Atkins like, I didn't know. I found out exactly when you know. What the hell is going on? Don't lie. Like, I don't know how anyone can believe him after that. Like, I'm sorry. He should be gone now. Because there's a lack of trust. And if you don't have trust in any relationship, it's difficult for it to continue on. I don't see how it does. So, I thought there was a legit shot. And there should be, because you have one guy in management saying, yeah, well, I know what the plan is. But the other guy, no, I didn't know. I found out just like every one of you as I was watching on. Give me an absolute break. He's caught red-handed right there, fibbing. Beat it.
And so adamantly, to me, it's egg all over his face. It looks brutal. I mean, you could have handled a church meeting better than that. Like, that was awful. And I think, Jays fans, sports fans alike are looking at those quotes I'm talking about from Atkins. And I'm just going, man, it's one thing to sell people down the rib, which you don't do anyway. I don't care if you had nothing to do with it. There's ways to articulate it. You're supposed to be somewhat of a diplomat up there. What are you doing? Embarrassing yourself and your team in front of everybody. If it's me and I had the power, you're gone. But I don't think it'll happen, because I think in today's business world, I think it's still a success. They made in their minds, they made the playoffs.
Yeah.
They got, it's possible. I don't think they believe they're too far away. It's dollars, this same group is heading a team that's, seems to be on the way up. But again, I think they grossly underachieved. Other people don't seem to be thinking that, but I don't know. I'm just listening to everybody at the start of the year. What would you think? It's similar to the Oilers. I heard the similar Oilers talk from Blue Jays talk at the beginning of the season. Expectations were very similar. Now, if the Oilers go out in straight games in the final, and what would you in the first round? What would you think? So I think it's a total disappointment, and his actions to me would give me no other chance but to fire him. But I don't think he's gone. No.
Question number 4. Looking up at playalberta.ca, the spread in tonight's Thursday night football game, 10.5 points as the Broncos taking on the Kansas City Chiefs in KC. Do you think the Chiefs will cover the spread?
Playalberta.ca. Actually, you can get higher. I went a little bit higher at 11.5. So yes, I think they will.
Yeah. Kansas City, when you do a little bit of a dive into this, they've won 15 games in a row against Denver. I didn't know that. I know it's not the same personnel, but 15 straight. And we're not these are mostly, I guess, regular season games, if not all. I don't know. And to me, this Rashid Rice has really picked it up. Just the word Mahomes. Isn't what's her name going to be there? What's her name? Taylor Swift? That's that again, I wish I wasn't saying this because I don't think it should, but it'll probably affect it. I don't know. Denver got bad D. I'm thinking I'd take it if it was 20. I think they're going to smash the 10.
And a final question for you guys today. Today is World Farmers Day, apparently. So if you had to go start a farm, Gregor, I know you got some expertise here. What would your main export be?
I'll let TR go first.
Well, I thought about this because a little bit of it's close to home. Salmon or fish farming is a little bit divisive now. There are, it can pollute, it can take jobs away. The fish can be less quality. There's all kinds of reasons. But I think just the more I live on the ocean, I pay close attention. If I had my time back, I wasn't a hockey player. There's a chance I would have been a marine biologist. I'm very interested. And I just think the world's waters are becoming a toilet, and the ocean and the seas are, and the further we go, I don't see it getting any better. And I think this is going to be something of the future that's going to have to happen. I'm very intrigued by the whole process. Not everybody agrees with me, but I'm just intrigued by all of it. And I think fish farming is fascinating for a lot of reasons. Given that I live in Newfoundland, I suppose I pick that.
All right. By the way, once you say marine biologist, all I could think about was Terry walking out to the ocean. The sea was angry that day, my friends. Like an old man returning soup as a deli. Is that a Titleist? Oh, and you're just walking out there. Oh my God. It's one of the greatest scenes ever in Seinfeld. Oh, so awesome. All day long, Cons, I'm exporting. You know what? I have obviously, you know what, we could do soybean, we could do canola, you could do wheat, but I'm a cattle guy all the way, man. I'm exporting some good hearty beef. None of that garbage steroids, just good old fashioned healthy grain with some grass, right? Mixing a little bit of salt lick for them. It's perfect, right? A little bit of TLC goes a long way for any animal, any human being, but I'll be exporting cattle all day long. It's the one thing every time I go to the farm, and we were just there for Thanksgiving, and we do rent the pasture. So we have some cows there, but they're not mine. I don't have a name for them, so I'm not connected to them. It's something I miss greatly, and I would love to go back. I've thought about it, but I'd love to go back and just own my own farm. It's obviously my mom's farm. I can't tell her what to do, so I'd like to get my own, man, and exporting cows all day long. So Farmers Day, farmers are massively important. They produce so much of the food that we eat right now. So shout out to all of the farmers on Sports 1440. Never take them for granted, because without them, we would be in very much trouble trying to feed ourselves. Most people can't run a garden in their backyard, for goodness sakes.
Hey, I apologize. If it's Farmers Day, they probably weren't talking about fish farm. I didn't
That's
realize.
okay, but it's, hey, you know what? I like that you went with what, and I do like your analogy about the oceans are a toilet, because that is an issue. There's no question about it, TR. So got to go with what you're passionate about, buddy. I like it. Hey, what little teaser? What's coming up? But now I know it's out, but let's pretend this is now episode 3 of Shoresy in season number 2. Give me a quick preview for episode 3 in Shoresy. What can we expect?
So 4 comes out tomorrow.
Okay, 4. All right,
Okay.
Give me a little teaser on 4 then.
Oh God, I believe in 4. I'm pretty sure that it's Lockdown who Hitch's love interest would probably be.
Nice.
And,
Do you have to do an on-scene kiss?
Well, I mean, I can't give that away yet.
Oh, wow.
Hopefully,
Jeez.
she's hot. Hopefully,
Hopefully you're not nervous, right?
Yeah.
Get up there, ATR. Jeez. Get some breast mints. Make sure you do breast mints before the take, okay?
I can't imagine. That must be. I often, look at scenes in some of these movies, and there's got to be something to that. Acting is this huge umbrella. Sometimes it's more natural than not, but I think all the time that would be weird. The people that make those love scenes look so full of emotion and so natural, I think that's great acting in itself. I really do. You never hear many people go out. It was great the way he had sex, or they had sex with each other. That it was awesome. It really added to the movie. But I'm like, just to do that and feel natural with the person alongside of you, that's a hard thing to do. I've kind of tiptoed there, but I've never really had to make out and get down and jiggy with it. But it happens a lot. And you picture doing that now with a crew behind you.
Oh, buddy, I'm writing letters to Kelso to make it happen in season 3, just to see. Yeah, I'm writing letters to Kelso. That's what we'll just write in letters from all our listeners, and then you can tell us how nervous you were later on. Oh.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen to some level, but hopefully, fingers are crossed. I know they really want to move on with it. I don't want to get too far ahead, but I mean, it looks good.
Oh.
So there might be more than just 3 episodes left. Who knows? I really hope. And I hear good things. But anyway, yeah, that's what you can expect. And of course, it gets a little bit. We're playing against the Sault Hunt, and they're the American team from Sault Ste. Marie. For those that aren't up on their Canadian geography, Sault Ste. Marie, there's a Canadian side and there's an American
it's like
side.
Lethbridge. It's a border city.
Yeah, Lloydminster, not Lethbridge. Lloydminster. It's a border city. And so now the guy's playing in there, Neil Clark. You could just see him in the very last of the episode 3. He played in the A little bit. He was fairly tough. Alex Penner, who's playing Delaney, I believe. You'll see a lot more of him now. And he's a big, real tough guy, and he's real big. He played all over the minors, finished in the Quebec. Any of those guys that finish in the Quebec Senior League, right? They're gunslingers, right? They're gunslingers.
God, that league is crazy, man. I couldn't believe the guys that go play in that league. And it was part of your contract to fight. That was like, thanks.
That's wild, right? Thanks. And they came from there. And of course,
you must have gotten asked to play in that league.
I did, yeah. And I don't want to, tell you the story, but the offer was crazy, and it was in a briefcase, and it was at lunch one day. And I thought to myself, who am I going to owe these fights to?
Smart man. Smart. When someone shows up with a briefcase of cash, you might wonder if it's above board.
Yeah, man. And like I said, when I hurt my ankle, I knew, like, I heard it in Dallas camp, but within like months, like, it just didn't get any better. I guess I knew 6 months later that I probably wouldn't get back to. I mean, I didn't have much skating to lose. I didn't have, I had to get better. That was the attribute that I really was trying to improve. That was, I think, the biggest inhibitor for me playing in the NHL regularly. So I knew when I lost a step, but I could still play. Hence, I played senior hockey till last year. So when they phoned me, I swear to you, it was a team from outside of Montreal, and they had me go up and meet them. The way they explained it was that if I didn't want to do it, I could do their broadcasting for like a good chunk. And that wasn't the case at all. They met me and said, we want 40 goals. We want 40 fights. Here's a case of money. You can take it and show up and do your job. And I thought to myself, I didn't even know about the goals because you can't make yourself score. Anything can happen. I can hurt my wrist. I could just not play well. I don't know anything about this league. But then I can make myself fight 40 times. But now I'm looking around the league going, it just didn't feel. And I'm like, I don't have to be doing this. It was actually right before it kind of alarmed me into going back to school and getting a degree. I'm like, man,
nice.
I don't know if I want, not that I'm scared to fight, but there's something to do about going into it and fighting trained fighters that are just there to do it. And, a lot of them are on roids and they're, Vaseline and the leather straps and, goalie cuts. And, it's just, and these guys, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like when you go to watch UFC at a bar. Like if you talk to one of those real pure tough guys, it'll just be talk all night, like every story. Then I had him here, and then I took my hand out and I clubbered him in the jaw, and he went down. I broke his orbital bone, and it was all guys like that loved fighting. I'm like, what am I doing? Do I need the money that bad, or I'll go back to school and get it in the future?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. TR, as always, buddy, great stuff. We'll talk to you Monday. Have a good weekend.
Thanks a lot for having me. See you later, Edmonton. See you later, Connor, and see you later, JG.
That is Terry Ryan, our Monday and Thursday co-host here on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440. Let's get to the con man. Sports 1440 update brought to you by Edmonton Kubota. Stop in right now and you get great deals on all the compact BX tractors with 0% financing for 84 months. Shop online, edmontonkubota.com, or in-store on 156th Street.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
The Edmonton Oilers announcing today that Danny Ryland Kearney has been hired as their hockey operations department. As a regional scout, Danny played for Northeastern University before founding and serving as the commissioner of the National Women's Hockey League. Oilers back in action Saturday, taking on the Vancouver Canucks. Tonight, you've got the Rangers in Buffalo. Blue Jackets host the Flyers. Red Wings take on the Devils. The Kraken up against the Preds. Stars host the Blues. Panthers traveling to Minnesota. And the Sharks hosting the Vegas Golden Knights. Week 6 in the NFL gets going tonight as the Broncos head to Arrowhead to take on the Chiefs. Kickoff set for 6:15. You can watch this one with Brandon Douglas down at the Windermere Canadian Brewhouse for a chance to qualify for a trip or two to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. Just one game in the majors this evening as the Phillies look to wrap up their series against Atlanta. That one starting at 6:07, and 2 games in the AJ. Canmore hosting Grand Prairie and Fort Mac in Calgary. Both those games get going at 7 o'clock. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spectre of Rogers Sportsnet and Edmonton Huskies general manager Jason Lurmer. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free Radio Player app and listen wherever you go.
How exciting is it to have Sports Talk Radio back in Edmonton?
Tie game, bottom of the ninth for the full count. The kick, the pitch. It's high, it's far, it is gone! Walk-off home run!
Yeah, it's pretty much like that. Edmonton Kubota is excited to welcome back Sports Talk Radio, Sports 1440. We'll be dialed in for every minute. Get it done, and then some, at Edmonton Kubota. All compact BX tractors on sale with 0% financing for 84 months. Stop by on 128th Ave or visit EdmontonKubota.com.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Corporate Business Solutions is celebrating 22 years of local service, local support, local always. Established in 2001, Corporate Business Solutions has grown to become the largest Konica Minolta digital office equipment dealer in Western Canada. When you call CBS, you'll always speak with a live person, just like you and your business deserve. Thank you to our loyal customers for their 22 years of continued support. Our success is owed to you. For local service, local support, local always. Call 780-490-5600 or visit cbsca.com.
Are you ready to light up your game like Edmonton lights up the ice? Then choose eWell. Electrical Wholesalers Edmonton Limited offers lightning fast service. Just like your favorite forward, they deliver your electrical supplies in record time. Plus winning quality. They only stock the best. And don't forget about their all-star support. When it comes to customer service, they're the playmakers. So don't sit in the dark. Make the power play and visit eWell today. Online at ewel.ca, where excellence in electrical meets the heart of hockey.
Are you looking for an affordable business, group, or team outing this season? Why not catch the excitement of a game with five-time Alberta Junior Hockey League champions, the Spruce Grove Saints? With extremely affordable group and suite packages available, and some of the lowest food and drink prices around, Saints games are the perfect night for your next group event. Get your group in on the action. For more information, visit sprucegrovesaints.ca.
What you eating there?
Oh, just a Leon's $10,000 shopping spree in a Chevy Colorado.
And how do you plan to get all that from a Big Mac?
Monopoly Double Play.
Monopoly Double Play?
First, I peel on pack, then I peel an app. 2 ways to play and win.
So basically, you're potentially holding the most lucrative Big Mac ever?
No, I'm potentially eating the most lucrative Big Mac ever.
Now you can double play at McDonald's for more ways to win millions of prizes. While supplies last, chances of winning change as prices are claimed. Chances of winning McD's app prices based on time of code entry. See rules at participating McDonald's in Canada or at mcdpromotion.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 place for people who want heating and cooling, because you'll save a bundle and get both with a heat pump. Then you can use hot, cold, hot, cold. Come on, thermostat, do what you're told. Turn up the heat, turn up the cold, so the vents start pushing out tornadoes. Time for a heat pump, bring it to me! Gonna get a deal from Legacy! Your heat pump from Legacy will heat and cool while saving you a bundle in energy costs. Plus, you'll get a rebate up to $5,000 and no payments, no interest for 1 year. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
You know, I got into reffing for the excitement.
He's going for the chair!
Turns out wrestling is completely scripted. But you know what's exciting and unscripted? PlayAlberta.ca. With an all-new sportsbook, odds boosts, and betting on any game.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today with promo code SPORTS50 and get a $50 free bet. Official gaming partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Driven up and down in circles, skidding down a road of black ice.
Portions of this hour brought to you by eWell. eWell gives you more than a premium quality electrical product. Are you ready to elevate your projects? Contact eWell to discuss how they can be your partner and get you to success. ewel.ca.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Driven to the margin of terror, driven to the edge of a deep dark hole.
It's after 5 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon. The Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440, live on Oilers Nation YouTube, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Hope you're having an awesome day. Be sure to, hey, if you want to try it out tonight, lots of, you can do it now because they have it for all the NHL games as well. The odd boost, a little bit of fun, different things inside the game that if you want to try them all, check it out at playalberta.ca. It's time now for the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. As they get set to celebrate 50 years in business. You don't get 50 years in business without a lot of success, a lot of hard work, few trials and tribulations. That's what they've done. And looking forward to continuing on. Great tradition at GS Construction. As we welcome in Mark Spectre, who normally joins us online, but today he's making his way home from the Chris Snow funeral in Calgary, which I'm guessing a fairly emotional day, fairly inspiring day, Spec.
Yeah, it was a little both, for sure, a little both. There's a cat that accomplished a lot in 42 years. I would say to you, as a journalist, you would get this, Jay. Here's a guy that in his 30s, he's from Boston.
Yeah.
He gets a job for the Boston Globe covering the Red Sox that he's really good at. Most of us would have just taken that job and held on to it as long as we could, right? We'd have done that job forever. And he did it for a while and ended up coming into hockey and being a hockey executive and an assistant GM. So he got a lot done in a relatively short time.
Yeah, and really got a lot of exposure, I think, and increased awareness for ALS and that it's awful disease, absolutely awful disease. And so I really applaud him and his wife Kelsey for being so open and honest in their journey, because it's it's not pretty sometimes to have to show the truth about that journey. So I give them boatloads of credit. In Calgary, the Flames get a win. The players talked about it afterwards. It was a little bit extra boost for them when you had the Snow family out before the game. They obviously all knew the Snow family quite closely. And the Flames, hey, they played well last night against the Jets. It was a competitive game. Unlike the game you were at in Vancouver, Spec. Whew, that's one where, man, you just burned the tape because, my goodness, you would have to really dig to look for some positives in that performance.
Yeah, there were no, I guess I could dig hard enough to find a couple of positives, but none of them really matter. No, it was a little disconcerting and really just more puzzling. Even the guys in the dressing room we talked to after, no one really had any answers. Like, how can you, these guys have been looking forward to this. Camp was so long, and they started on September 5th with captain skates, and went through a whole training camp on 8 preseason games, and everyone was just champing at the bit to get going. And finally, the day arrives, and you're flat as a pancake. Yeah. Like, guys were, the Oilers were awful. Vancouver was very good, but the Oilers were awful. And there's no one really. I never came away with any answers. Connor McDavid didn't have an answer. Brett Kulak didn't have an answer. Darnell Nurse didn't have. They could tell you what they didn't do, but they can't tell you why it happened.
Yeah, it's not. It's one game, and so the Oilers were terrible last night. I don't think that means the Oilers are terrible, but the one concern I have, Spec, is that I know it's only one game, but it's been a long time that the Oilers have struggled at 5-on-5, struggled losing some key battles. In the first period, courtesy of Sports Logic, the Oilers won 38% of loose puck battles. 38. Like that matches what their head coach said, the work ethic, not good enough. Yeah. And then, their puck management, which has been an issue. They being Vancouver, had 11 scoring chances off turnovers. The Oilers had 1. And so to me, that's a sign of, here's a team gifting goals again, and that's been a problem.
Yeah, no, all those things are true. I don't doubt everything that Natural Stat Trick counted. Those are from Sports Logic. They use video and everything else. So, excuse me. I could have I'm trying to say this respectfully. You could see it without looking on your computer is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Watch the game. They lost every battle. It was unbelievable, and the turnovers were copious, right? All kinds of turnovers. And listen, that's the point. Like all the fundamentals of the game of hockey, it doesn't matter how much talent you have and how many great players and Art Ross Trophy winners and all that garbage. If you compete the way they competed and you lose battles the way they lost battles, you can't win. Like you just can't win. It's just a fundamental tenet of the game. You can't win in football if you lose the line of scrimmage, and you can't win in hockey if you never win a puck battle. Simple as that.
Yeah. Mark Spectre joins us. Matthias Ekholm, think he's ready Saturday?
I think he should be. Like, I hope he is. At this point, he's practicing hard and long and staying out after practice and with the team. And the next step is to play. Like, if he's not ready to play by Saturday, I don't know what to tell you. I can't see why he wouldn't be, Jason. What do you think?
Yeah, I would think so. And it was interesting. I thought at times Brett Kulak showed the rust of a player not playing in preseason, right? And I think that's a factor. Now, maybe it's exposed more when the rest of your team is so lethargic, so it stands out even more. But I don't care if Ekholm was in the lineup last night, unless he's got some miracle potion that can inject work ethic into the veins of his teammates. Yeah, they weren't winning that game. But I have a question for you. So Jack Campbell comes in. I actually didn't even think he played that bad, right? Like, I know 4 goals in 16. None of them were terrible goals like we saw last year from him. And then Stuart Skinner came in and had the exact same numbers. Who would you go in goal on Saturday?
Oh, I give Skinner the start Saturday. If we're in a 2-goalie system, I'm in no way blaming Jack Campbell for what happened there. There was no goalies winning that game for you last night. There's just no way. So, however, he didn't do enough to earn a second start in a row, right? I'm not saying, the team was awful and Jack Campbell was just average. He didn't make any great big saves either, nor did Skinner. They didn't, I don't know what the expected goals were against the goals that were scored, but there wasn't a lot of highway robbery going on in the Oilers' nets from either guy. So, I'm starting Skinner. It's his turn to start, and let's hope that I felt for Jack because last year the team played very poorly in front of him. Certainly the first half of the season, I thought, and he really had some momentum coming out of training camp. He really had got a foothold, and he had something there, and the team just blew it for him last night. They absolutely blew it for him. He's confidence-wise, he's been pulled in his first start. He's probably back to where he started. And it's very wasteful, and I thought that the Edmonton Oilers players did him a disservice last night.
There is, Jay Woodcroft, nothing was going. He's trying different combinations. I would assume he'd go back to, did you see anything that would suggest that Brown with McDavid or Hyman with McDavid, one was better than the other?
No, not really.
Yeah.
You know what? I think you owe it to yourself as a coaching staff and to your team to just start again where you were and say, let's have a do-over here. You lose to Vancouver 2 in a row. Okay, hold on here. Now we're going to dig into this thing, right? Some guys are going to sit, and some guys are going to change, and some guys are going to move up. I get that. But that was such a debacle from player 1 to player 19 that, Jay, I think they're going to start with pretty much the same lineup. I like the third line, frankly. I love the Holloway, McLeod, Fogle line. I thought it was pretty good. And I also thought Darnay and Broberg were nowhere close to the worst pair in the ice for the Oilers.
Oh, hey, yeah. There's to look at the defense and say, hey, well, this guy played really well, or this guy, what Spec, it'd be like, me going to a bald convention, say I have the most hair. Yeah, yay. It's not a win any way you look at it.
It's the tallest midget, you used to say when you could say that.
Yeah, not good at all. Meanwhile, the Canucks are obviously pretty happy. And hey, Thatcher Demko and the Oilers, because the first 7 minutes or first 6 minutes of game, the Oilers actually played well. After that, it was a gong show. But Demko made some big saves early on, and I know he left with dehydration with 10 minutes to go. But man, he looked like the goalie that's can push a team into the postseason. When he got tested, he was excellent.
He was, for sure. He gave him that early 10 minutes. The Oilers had an early power play when it was 0-0, and I thought the Detroit or the Vancouver PK was excellent. They deflected a bunch of passes, and Demko made his saves. And sometimes a goalie doesn't need to give his team 60 minutes of stellar goaltending. Sometimes it's a well-placed 10 or 12 minutes that gets you to the finish line. And, he played well when it was a 0-0. And by the time the first period ended, it was 2-0, and away we went. So good for Demko. He's a hell of a goalie. He's got the pedigree that, frankly, neither of the guys in Edmonton has. But to me, it's about the team in front of you. It's all about how your team plays in front of you. And, I'd like to see Demko wearing an Oilers jersey last night. He'd have let in 6, I'm here to tell you.
Yeah. Well, Spec, we will see what the Oilers do. The day off today. They got their autograph session here at West Edmonton Mall. The lineups are crazy already. It starts in about 40 minutes time. They had the day off. They will be on the ice tomorrow. I'm guessing it'll be a spirited practice. And then Saturday, it's all about how you bounce back from terrible losses. They can't change what happened on Wednesday. There's nothing they can do about it. But McDavid seemed a little irked after the game. And you know what? I hope they're all irked because the Oilers got to come out and play way better because, Vancouver's going to come in here feeling pretty good about themselves.
Well, and you know what I think, and I wrote this to a large extent today, that when the playoffs come, we've all heard the cliche, right? It doesn't matter if you lose 8-1 or 1-0. It's a loss. And you learn from it and you bury it and you go to the next game, right? That's what they say in the playoffs. They've been saying it for 100 years. So I'm going to say to you, the Oilers are going to be a playoff team and they're going to get in a playoff series here and they're going to lose a game 4-0 and they're going to lose a game 5-1. And they're going to look us in the eye and they're going to say, we got to park that game and we got to come back the next one. And so that's where we're at. It's only game 2 of the season, but to me, Jay, this is a bit of a dress rehearsal. This is okay, we got blown out. We weren't any good. Let's park it and move on. I'd be very interested to see, an Oilers team. If they can do it in game 2, that means they can do it in the playoffs. If they can't put it behind them now, they don't have a chance to do it when they're playing Vegas in the, second or third round or second round series, right?
No, very true. Very true. Spec, have a good one, my man.
All right, Jay.
That's Mark Spectre in the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. We got lots of text to get to in our Jiffy Lube inbox, 833-401-1440. We also have another GM coming up before we wrap up the show today. We'll come back and get to your text before the GM on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
If you have mobility issues, a residential elevator can allow you to enjoy your home for longer, but finding the right elevator or lift can be daunting. Ram Elevators and Lifts can get you started with 3 simple questions. What kind of space are you installing the elevator in? How far does it need to travel? And are you interested solely in function, or is the look of your lift important? Make your home more accessible with grounded simplicity, elevated design. Learn more online at trustram.com.
You'll absolutely love the new and app-approved Booster Juice app. Download it today and start earning berry points for app-amazing rewards. Apply your points for all of your Booster Juice favorites for free. From booster balls to smoothies, snacks, and combo deals, even digital gift cards. Plus, receive personalized offers that appeal directly to you. The new and app-approved Booster Juice app. More than just online ordering. Download it today. Details at boosterjuice.com.
What does 3 decades of perfecting your craft look like? Ask the guys at Leduc Goldsmiths, locally run and bringing you nothing but quality work and service. Built from the ground up through family, from generation to generation, uncle to nephew, father to son. The pride in their family jewelry store is the pride you take home, bringing you custom and repair work. But it's their face-to-face service that keeps you coming back. Leduc Goldsmiths on Main Street, Leduc. Leduc's Jewelry Store, family owned and operated for over 30 years.
Every Albertan wants a strong and secure retirement. We all want to make the most of it. That's why Alberta's government is exploring a new possibility, an Alberta pension plan. You might be wondering what's in it for you. The new plan could mean higher benefits for seniors and bigger paychecks for workers. As we explore this opportunity together, Alberta's government wants to hear from you. It's your pension, your choice. Learn more and have your say at albertapensionplan.ca. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Weiss Johnson, whoa!
Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson. Can you believe that summer is over and fall is here? With that in mind, we are offering free furnace upgrades from Daikin, should you be looking to get a new furnace. This means getting a better model of furnace that provides you greater comfort at a lower price. Plus, Daikin has the best warranty in the business. There's never a better time to get a new Daikin furnace from Weiss Johnson. We know how important a good furnace is in Edmonton, so don't procrastinate as this is a limited time offer. Visit wjheats.com today.
At Toyota, we believe your vehicle is more than just your ride. It's your trusty sidekick. So make sure it's ready to go, because there's a 100% chance of winter this winter. And you can take those odds to the bank, not the snowbank. Trust the experts at Toyota for premium winter tires, batteries, brakes, and more. Beat the winter rush and book an appointment today. Visit shoptoyota.ca or contact your local Toyota dealer.
One chance. It's all you've got. What are you prepared to risk when there's no do-over?
If you've been in an accident, you may be tempted to take a quick settlement, to rely on the nice insurance adjuster giving you advice.
Adjusters work for insurance companies. Just whose best interest do you think they have in mind?
I'm Carol Robinson from Robinson LLP. You have my personal guarantee that we always have your best interests in mind.
They get tough, you get results. Robinson LLP is on your side.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Try their new one-topping garlic or spicy garlic epic stuffed crust for $21.99 for a limited time only at papajohns.ca.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
1 in 10. 1 in 10. 1 in 10. Don't wanna be a monkey red.
Rolling through Thursday afternoon. It also is, of course, game day. NFL tonight. Where is the brand man at, Connor Halley?
He is heading down to the Windermere location.
Ooh, all you folks out in Windermere, see the Duke, Brandon Douglas down. Give you a lot of prizes. Buy a beer if you want to watch the Chiefs. The Chiefs could be the Canucks tonight. I think there's a really good chance this could be a blowout against the Denver Broncos. Also, NFL news, the Browns will be without Watson. Oh, darn. He's out again. Jeez, couldn't happen to a better guy. Couldn't happen to a better guy. So he is out. And the 49ers, who are very good, going to be in better. So nice. Now, lots of texts in our Jiffy Lube inbox, 833-401-1440. Hey, boys, calling it now. McDavid, 4-point night Saturday. He looked very upset. Gus in the hood. It's possible, but 4 points, man, it's hard. I know Brock Besser just had a 4-goal game. It's the first one against the Oilers in 21 years. There's only ever been 12 all-time against the Edmonton Oilers. No one's ever scored 5 against Edmonton. Fun little trivia for you. Do you know the last player before Brock Besser to score 4 goals in a game against the Edmonton Oilers? Text me and let me know at 833-401-1440. We'll get to some of Woodcroft's comments. If you missed him last night, he was, I don't know how many times he repeated work ethic, but if you were playing a drinking game, every time he said work ethic, you take a drink, you would have, you've been inebriated pretty quickly in the post game, because that's pretty much all he talked about. The work ethic wasn't there. They had a preseason work ethic, and the Canucks had a regular season one, and the Oilers were playing catch up basically after the first 5 minutes. They started all right, but after that, it was not good. And many of you are paying attention or reading my article at Oilers Nation, but yes, Marcus Naslund was the most recent player to score 4 goals against the Oilers. That's the only one ever in Edmonton where the opposing team had a player score 4 goals. Only one time ever in Oilers franchise history. It happened at home. That was Marcus Naslund. The other 11 were all on the road. Now, let's hear a little bit from courtesy of Kev Karras is down there for us today. And here's Jay Woodcroft on the day after the debacle.
I'm assuming, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that you've probably rewatched all or large portions of that game on video. I'm wondering if you have any observations or anything has stood out to you that maybe you hadn't processed last night.
Didn't look any better on video than it did in person. I can tell you that.
Are there a bunch of teachable moments? Like, are you going to show players large chunks of that game, small chunks of that game, or try to get them to mentally just move on from it? How do you approach going over?
You know, we've sat and we've met already. We've addressed the things that needed to be addressed. Pride ourselves on holding each other competitively accountable, and for us, that game last night was well below what our standard is. And you know, we've met, we've addressed it, flushed it, move on to tomorrow.
Jay, I'm a firm believer that you learn more from failure than success, and I've got a lot of experience with this because I've had a lot of failure over the years. But just a thought on: is it easier to teach? And like Nick Saban will talk about when you don't want to hammer the team when they're down off it because you don't want to get to their heart with it.
Yeah.
How tricky is that navigating in terms of getting the message across? Does that even need to happen?
Well,
at this stage.
Well, I think. Yes, it does need to happen. We're not happy with the way we played yesterday. So I don't believe in sweeping things under the rug. I believe in being direct and open and upfront and to tell the truth. But that's okay. Close teams can have those kinds of conversations, and close teams, they know when they haven't lived up to a certain type of standard. And there's not a person yesterday, coaches, players, that feel good about the result of that game. We think we've had a real good month here in Edmonton. But the way we played last night was nowhere near our standard, nowhere near the level of desperation and urgency required to win in the NHL, let alone execution. But that game has been played. It has been digested. It has been taught from. Now it's on us to make sure that we have a good day tomorrow to set up practice heading into Saturday night.
A little housekeeping item for you. Any update at this time on Dylan Holloway?
I saw Dylan. I haven't talked to the doctors yet, but I don't anticipate it being anything major at all. I expect him to play on Saturday night.
The result, obviously, you've talked about the effort level and that being kind of right at the top of the list of problems. As you're implementing some new tweaks to the system here and there, did you see things in your own end that you just think are going to take a little bit of time for your group to get used to or work out, or was it just strictly?
You know what's interesting? I think we spent very little time in our own zone yesterday. In fact, I think we had double the amount of ozone time that we spent in our D zone. So I didn't see breakdowns of the D zone variety. I saw a couple breakout turnovers. I saw, a couple rush reads that have to be a whole lot better, but I didn't see a whole lot of zone time in our own end. I think that's one area for us, I would say, is just, cleaning up different parts of our game. But the meeting that we had with our team today didn't go anywhere near systems. It went to effort. It went to, and when I say that, I'm just talking about how regular season hockey is different than preseason hockey, and how we understand, given our recent history and players that we have and our potential here in Edmonton, that's the type of game we should expect to see on a nightly basis from our opponents. And we're disappointed that we didn't meet the competitive level of last night's game. But as I said earlier, that's one game that happened last night. It didn't sit well this morning. We've gone through it. We've taught off of it. Now we flush it. And the good news is that we get a chance or another crack at that same team coming into our building here on Saturday night in front of the best fans in the world.
Those happen to most teams through the course of a
See, you have these sort of one-off nights where things just don't go right.
Yeah.
Is it kind of odd for it to happen right out of the gate, and you take it more seriously or handle it any different, given it was the first game and there was all this build-up?
I think the buildup comes from the media. I think the buildup might come from the fan bases in both cities and whatnot. But I think for us, we understand that to meet the challenges of an 82-game schedule, you're going to understand there's going to be some off nights. Now, what was interesting about last night, it was an off night for everybody. Sometimes an individual has an off night, or a line has an off night, or a D pair, or a special team. It was an off night for everybody. We don't feel good about it. It is what it is. We'll learn from it and move on.
Well, that's all they can do is move on. No question about that. So we will we'll see what unfolds on Saturday. Many fans frustrated, right? I think it's fair to be frustrated after the game. Do fans flush it right away? Probably not. They're not playing. They don't have to. But the older players are going to have to, and then they're going to have to move on and be a lot better. No question. Hey, guys, I'm not negative on either player, but 25-2 pairing is awful. Bush needs to learn from Ekholm, from Jamie. Sure, but watch the plays last night. Look at the second goal against. The puck stumped in the corner. Evan Bouchard goes back to get. He's the first guy back. He has lots of time and just flat out loses it. What is playing with Ekholm going to do different at that moment? At some point, some of the stuff is just on a player. It can't all be about, the partner. Sure, it helps. But just looking at that play individually, what has to change? Do you honestly think, is Ekholm going to be some miracle worker in that regard? Maybe, I guess. But when I watch that play, and then you watch the last goal, Bouchard's right there in front of the net, just standing beside a guy. So sometimes the onus is on the players individually, and every individual player from last night needs to look in the mirror and be like, I got to be better. There's no question about it. They need to be better. So I expect them to. They've all shown for long stretches they are a better team than what they showed last night. There's no debate about that. Last night was awful. We can all admit it. It was, after, like they said, the first 5 minutes, it was just, then it's 1-0. Then you're like, okay, it's 2-0. Now it's 3. Now kind of an unlucky goal, it's 4. Now, Draisaitl scored 4-1, and you're thinking, maybe. Then they came right back. Edmonton took a dumb penalty. Peterson scores on the ensuing power play, and pretty much over. There was very little life or fight in the Oilers after that. And it really sucks, I think, for the fan base and the players, because it's the first game of the year, and you haven't played in so long, and that's what happens. Fans have been waiting since the loss to Vegas in Game 6 to watch their team. And, hey, I know you watch preseason, but everyone's like, yeah, it's preseason. The games don't matter. Now the game matters. Vancouver got 2 points. Edmonton got none. And it was one of the worst losses in franchise history. And I don't say that that's not an exaggeration. Edmonton's played 3,400 regular season games. Only 15 times have they lost by 7 or more goals. So I think it's safe to say that you don't see bad losses like that, especially, even in the month of October. So, Edmonton, even just allowing 8+ goals in the month of October hasn't happened since 1997. Long time. So they got to be better. We'll come back. We'll discuss a little playoffs with you on the Thursday edition of the Jason Gregor Show, live on Sports 1440 and Oilers Nation YouTube, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
How exciting is it to have Sports Talk Radio back in Edmonton?
Tie game, bottom of the ninth with a full count. The kick, the pitch. It's high. It's far. It is gone. Walk-off home run.
Yeah, it's pretty Pretty much like that. Edmonton Kubota is excited to welcome back Sports Talk Radio Sports 1440. We'll be dialed in for every minute. Get it done and then some at Edmonton Kubota. All compact BX tractors on sale with 0% financing for 84 months. Stop by on 128th Ave or visit edmontonkubota.com.
A premier hockey solution with a clear path for long-term development is proud to be entering its 7th season of independent borderless hockey, featuring provincial and cross-province competition with showcase style, regular season gameplay, and a strong commitment to individual skill development. It's an attractive option for those seeking family life balance. The Hockey Super League offers opportunities for both male and female athletes, born between 2011 and 2016. Visit hockeysuperleague.com for more information.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
What's cracking at Cattail Crossing Golf and Winter Club? Kick off your week with unbeatable savings. Enjoy half-price golf from Monday to Thursday. Elevate your game without emptying your wallet. Book your tee time today. CattailCrossing.ca.
At Fountain Tire, save big during our Road Ready sales event until October 21st. Who wouldn't want up to 25% on select tires and a bonus of $50 off any service? A lizard, maybe? Or a ghost? Restrictions apply. Financing available. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com.
We've got your local sports covered all day. Fox Sports has you covered tonight, after 9, and all weekend long. Be sure to check out the incredible NFL coverage on Sunday. Often imitated, never duplicated. We're Sports 1440.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is sounding the call. Don't struggle through winter with a furnace you can't trust. For maintenance before winter strikes,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
for furnace tune-ups and repairs to give peace of mind.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Or to scrap your old furnace for a brand new high-efficiency one.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
And with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your new furnace, it's gotta be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Ain't it beautiful? The inventory is unprecedented. Volvo Cars Edmonton is proud to boast an amazing selection of in-stock Volvo XC40s, 60s, and 90s. Visit Volvo Cars Edmonton today and experience the exemplary service you've come to expect and the affordable luxury only found with Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners. Experience the difference. Volvo of Edmonton.
Sorry, gang, party's over.
I won!
At playojo.net online casino, the party never stops. Feel the fun from the get-go with stacks of exciting slots and table games added every single week. Get that Ojo feeling at playojo.net today.
Open to all players 18 years and older. This is not a gambling site. Please play responsibly.
Feel the fun. Play Ojo.
Are you winter ready? Don't put off those repairs or maintenance to your trucks or trailers while the cold weather sets in. Call Murray's Truck Parts Locators. Get your trucks in now to make sure you don't end up stranded. From alignments to inspections and engine overhauls, Murray does it all. He can even source parts when you need them and cut down on wait times.
Call Murray's Truck Parts, 780-678-2128.
Murray's Truck Parts Locators, just minutes west of Camrose.
Hey everyone, it's Kelly here from United Sport and Cycle. United's annual Hockey Day sale is on now. Save up to 20% off on skates, 25% off on equipment, and 35% off on all Pro Stock sticks. United Sport and Cycle, your home of hockey for over 95 years.
And you into the things. Oh.
5:43. Welcome back, Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We are live in the eWell studio, and next Thursday, a week today, is their grand opening, and from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m., and they are having a huge party. And guess what? Any of their vendors and their clients get down there, 186th Street and 116th Avenue. Food truck, free food, some jersey giveaways, scavenger hunt prizes. Any 1440 listeners want to go check it out? If you're looking for all your electrical needs, go to ewell.ca. Next Thursday, the 19th, is their grand opening celebration. It's a fantastic facility. So check it out. NHL scores early on. The Rangers. Oh, Alex Lafreniere, is this the year? Opens up the scoring for the Broad Street Blues. Also, the Flyers up 2-1 on the Blue Jackets. No score between the Red Wings and the Devils. Blues and Stars later on. Panthers in Minnesota. Kraken are in Nashville. And then the late game has the Golden Knights taking on the San Jose Sharks. Let's go in the community now. Brought to you by United Sport and Cycle. And Hockey Days is on, where you can save up to 35% off. United Sport and Cycle, your home for hockey for 95 years. And playoffs, baby. Nothing better this weekend. In, of course, the Prairie Junior Football League. The Edmonton Huskies are on the road to take on the Regina Thunder. Jason Lurmer, former player, of course, now is their GM. He joins us now. Jason, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, appreciate it. Long time no see. So how's GMing the junior football team going?
Sleep is for the weak. That is the truth.
What's kind of been the biggest learning curve?
Well, it's been 3 years now of me doing this particular role, and the biggest one is just staying on top of the moving parts of the creature comforts for the boys, the traveling, making sure you've got the buses all lined up, and the hotels are not trying to pull a fast one on you, switching up rooms at the last minute and all that fun stuff. So just, making sure our boys are taken care of.
Yeah, well, that's good. So let me, you look at your team. You've been in the playoffs. You know how it is when you got to go into Saskatchewan. It's always tough, whether it's at the Gordie Howe Bowl or whether you're going to Regina against the Thunder. Experience for your team. You guys have had some big wins this year. You've probably had a few losses that you'd like back. Kind of where is your team at right now, and how this season's gone, and maybe kind of where the process is as far as because I know it's not just always a 1-year thing with junior football. It's usually like a cyclical thing, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, it's a constant process. The coaches, and bless them for being really diligent on the recruiting. Our guys do a great job bringing in some great talented kids, and looking at the character first and foremost. We got to make sure we're staying on top of the recruiting for next year, because, for example, last year, we lost 23 graduated. So that's a good chunk of your team, and then probably another 10 or 15 just due to attrition. So, that's a good part of your team vanishing just due to time.
Yeah. And that's always the one, like, as you're building a team, GM for junior teams is always different, because, you plan for a few years, but then sometimes a guy up and leaves because of work, and then other guys up and leave. Maybe all of a sudden they get an opportunity to go to university. So you kind of have a plan, but then I'm guessing you always have to be flexible, because sometimes you don't necessarily know for sure if some guys are going to stick through the full 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, and that's actually the biggest part of our recruiting process. We try and make sure the kids know that nothing's given to them, so they have to earn everything. So if you're earning that role, and someone has had moved on, then you're ready and you're prepared to make an impact, just like that previous guy did. So we want to make sure when we get our players set up for the next position, that happens in life. So they're preparing themselves. So they're not going to be expecting everything handed to them. You can't just expect things given to you and be successful in life. So the boys, they really have to earn it in here and earn their role. And we got a lot of rookies this year that really stepped up and earned their role right out of the gate. So it's a really good thing this year for us.
Who are some of the players to watch for Husky fans this weekend in Regina?
Oh, that's a tough one. We got a couple good ballers, but with the injuries we got going on, who knows? We're waiting on medical clears for a couple of guys. A lot of nicks and scratches, some shoulder injuries, some knee injuries, hand injuries, all the fun stuff that you don't want to happen in this time of the year is popping up. The tanks, we got Jacob Hagerfeld leading the nose tackle position, right, trying to jam it down the throats of the quarterback. On the right opposite side of him, we got Ifeata Bogan coming out of running back. Big, 200, he'll say 230 pound, I say 240 pound running back, just coming out, pounding the rock nonstop. So it's going to be a fun little battle this weekend from both sides.
So you look at those injuries and, because you guys take the bus and everything, you got to leave earlier. You've got to know a few days in advance if they're going to be, because you can't necessarily make game time decisions, or can you, and will you just travel a few more bodies?
No, well, the bus is tight on a good day.
Yeah.
So we'll make the best educated decision on the Friday night, because we're back here. We're leaving here probably 10:30 on Friday night, and we're back here at 6 a.m. Loading that bus. And the boys have been really great, making sure they're on time for the most part. And then we're on the road, taking a break out in Battleford, and then heading right to the practice field, getting that done, having dinner, doing a whole bunch of film, and then game day.
So how come you're leaving Friday night?
No. That's when we make our last decision. So we leave Saturday morning.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? You're leaving on the bus at 10:30? Is that a new thing? I hadn't heard about. Geez, I knew the bus is tough in junior football, but man, 10 overnight bus trips. That's a little bit tougher. I know because that's about still a good 8-hour bus ride there. So you split it up in between. Then the guys try to get their legs going. So you arrive into Saskatchewan. I think it's probably close to around 5 or 5:30, correct? Give or take.
We actually get to our practice field at about 3:30, 4 o'clock.
Oh, okay. So you guys are leaving like 6, 7?
6. We're trying to in for 6:30 tomorrow morning or Saturday morning.
Okay, so then you'll just do a light rundown. You're just doing like a rundown then on the
not
the
even just a mental walkthrough.
Okay,
just making sure we're walking through it. If I had the option, the boys would be wearing flip flops just to make sure it's just mental reps. Walk through it and make sure they're good to go. Unfortunately, they like their cleats too much and they like going fast. So that's a good problem to have. Jason Lurmer, the general manager of the Edmonton Huskies, joins us in his third year with the Huskies. And Jason, you've looked at the Saskatoon Hilltops are, perennial, one of the top teams all the time. What do you think has to happen for someone to come out and, compete year after year with them? Execute. It's as simple as that. Going back to, I'm going to call you out here, even going back to days when you were affiliated with us, their playbook hasn't changed. No. They just say, here's the playbook, stop us. And that's the challenge every single year, because we know that playbook is only about 4 or 5 pages deep. It's not that big. And they just, Sarge does a heck of a job coaching them up down there. And Calgary's going to be in for a tough battle against them this weekend. Give me your thoughts on the Hilltops on the other side and what you're maybe expecting, because I'm assuming, I know you never look too far ahead for a year and you're only focused on your team, but it seems like it's obviously going to be the Hilltops. When you've looked at their team this year and you mentioned how they really haven't changed their playbook, it's funny in football because I joke from Coach McLean days, like football coaches are some of the most you're always, someone's stealing our playbook, someone's watching our practice, they're going to take it. Yet you just say, well, the Hilltops are on the same thing. They've done it for 20 years and no one can beat them consistently. So is there too much overthinking sometimes in football? Absolutely. I know Bob Beulah, and Bob, first year out here, cracked me up. He would watch that high-level bridge to see that no one was up there with cameras filming our practice. I know. So it's always the coaches are always overthinking. They're trying to be a little too creative sometimes, but you know what? In the day and age we play in, the wrinkles are what make it fun to watch. Well, Jason, have a good, safe bus trip. Hope you get the clearance from the players you need, and best of luck in Regina on Sunday. Oh, absolutely. And before we take off here, Jason, one thing I do want to mention, because it's probably the last time I talked to you this year, next year is our 7th anniversary. We're going to be having a whole bunch of alumni stuff coming out. So we want to make sure you and all those guys with all the championship rings come on down to the golf tournament, the NFL pool, the comedy nights, all the stuff we're doing. We want to get you guys involved next year. All right. Well, that'll be fun. You got a few characters. We get to see a few of those guys. So that'll be good times. Oh, yeah. They're a fun time. Awesome. Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it. All right, Jason. Talk to you later. There you go. That's Jason Lurmer, former player, now, of course, a GM for the Edmonton Huskies. That's in the community, brought to you by United Sport and Cycle. On behalf of Connor Halley and Terry Ryan, thanks as always for listening to the show. We truly appreciate it. If you missed anything, go to jasongregor.com. The individual interviews are there, or go to the podcast. Anywhere you get it, and you'll get the entire 4 hours. Let's get to the con man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling Home. No payments, no interest for 1 year. And guess what? Help Your Neighbor is coming back
with Legacy on October 23rd. So get ready thinking about someone that you know who could use a brand new furnace. I'll tell you more details as it gets closer. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
The Edmonton Oilers announcing that Danny Rowan Kearney has been added to their hockey operations department as a regional scout. Danny played for Northeastern University before founding and serving as commissioner of the National Women's Hockey League. Oilers off tonight and tomorrow, back in action on Saturday. Rematch with the Canucks. Around the NHL tonight, the Rangers leading the Sabres 2-0 after 20. Also, Flyers up on the Blue Jackets 2-1 in scoreless midway through the first between the Devils and the Red Wings. Later tonight, the Kraken in Nashville. Stars host the Blues. Panthers take on the Wild, and it's the Sharks hosting the Vegas Golden Knights. Week 6 in the NFL kicks off tonight down in Kansas City as the Chiefs hosting the Broncos. That one gets going in about 20 minutes time. You can watch this one with Brandon Douglas down to Windermere Canadian Brewhouse for a chance to qualify for a trip for two to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. Just one game in the majors. We're about 12 minutes away from the first pitch as the Phillies look to wrap up their series against the Atlanta Braves. Phillies currently leading 2-1. And in the AJ, 2 games. Canmore hosting Grand Prairie and Fort Mac in Calgary. Both of those 7 o'clock starts. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. We'll be back with Fox Sports Radio at 9 o'clock and then carry us in the morning with guest host Eddie Steele. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.